Related to the case by tomorrow afternoon. ABC's Catherine Faulders.
A magistrate judge. This is not the judge who would ultimately oversee a trial if it goes to trial, but the judge sharply questions DOJ's handling of this indictment, calling prosecutors' conduct highly unusual. The judge said that he believed it was an effort to indict Comey while potentially violating his constitutional rights here.
That's the latest news, traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. The Gulch got a crash. Demonbreun Street near I-40. Talbot's Corner, crash 65 southbound near Trinity Lane. Capitol View, a crash 40 westbound after Church Street. Green Hills, an accident. Right lane block 440 eastbound near the Woodlawn Drive overpass. I'm Ken Weaver.
I don't know who would not want you to advertise their product, Jackson. You would be great at that. By the way, I'm just continuing a conversation that Jackson and I were having moments ago before we started the Matt Murphy Radio Show on this Wednesday, November 5th, 2025. My day's going great so far. How's y'all's? Y'all doing all right? There's Ken Weaver back in News Closet B, making sure that everything that comes out of his speaker sounds as good as humanly possible. Hello, Ken Weaver.
How about you, boys?
What you doing?
I'm just writing up news.
Just reporting the news. I've got a couple of questions about that UPS crash.
Yes, sir.
And I bet you have some answers.
Maybe.
Before I get into those, we'll say hello to Jackson Williams. I was just telling Jackson, who wouldn't want you, man? I think you'd be great. I think you'd be, well, that's probably true.
Oklahoma.
We're talking about advertising. We're talking about businesses. We're talking businesses. You know, because Jackson said that someone just called and was inquiring about possibly advertising on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Yes, sir.
That's great.
We like that.
We don't say it enough, do we, Ken?
No.
That if you've got a local business or regional or hell nationwide, you're looking to grow that business, this is the place to do it. A lot of folks listen to this radio station.
We reach all the way up into Kentucky.
Oh yeah.
All the way down to Alabama.
Oh yeah. We reach right there to the rocket when they used to have the rocket. Now the rocket's gone.
Yes, sir.
We're all over the joint with our apps, Ken. We go all over the globe.
Yeah, we're worldwide.
I mean, my goodness gracious, if I'm McDonald's or Coca-Cola, I'm advertising with Matt Murphy. That's what I'd be doing.
To quote the great Pappy O'Daniel, we mass communicating.
We ain't doing one at a time, and nitwit. We mass communicating. We are mass communicating. So, Jackson, don't sell yourself short. Because I said to Jackson, Jackson, was she interested in advertising on the old Matt Murphy show? And you said, not necessarily, just the radio station.
Mm-hmm.
Is that it? That's all you're going to give him now? Mm-hmm. You're giving me an uh-huh? I was listening to Dan Mandis in Nashville this morning. You sound like Joan Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Giving the old uh-huh. And now I got a frog in my throat, which is no good.
So Sister Joan was giving him the short.
Oh, she was giving him the this morning. Oh, yeah. Dan just now figured out that that's what a woman sounds like when she's mad at him. It's like, man, oh, man, where you been? I figured that I was like 8 when my mother, Mama, why can't I go outside? Sit down. So what I was saying, Jackson, is that if I were an advertiser and I was looking for a unique voice to be the spokesperson for my product, and Matt Murphy was too expensive for me, I'd look no further than Jackson Williams, a.k.a. Action Jackson, a.k.a. Y2J, a.k.a. Reaction Jackson, a.k.a. J. Willie, a.k.a. Truffle Butter.
I will be your Clarence Ben spokesperson, honey, or Pony Boy.
All right, do it one more time. Take 2. Doo-doo.
I will be your Clarence Ben spokesperson, Pony Boy.
Which leads me to this. I'm not making this up. And I hope occasionally she tunes in and listens. My partner in the mornings on Talk 99.5 in Birmingham, Alabama, anthropomorphized clearance items at the grocery store, and she would buy them because she felt bad for them. That is the God's honest truth. She said she'd walk by the clearance item and she'd see like the old honey buns for 99 cents.
And she'd just have to get them.
Because she said she felt bad for them. I said, what do you mean you felt bad for them? Well, they're just there. They're by themselves. Nobody wants them. I was like, Ani, they're not real. They're not living. They don't think.
They're crying.
They have feelings, she said. They have feelings. So she would load up on the clearance items. Maybe that, or she was just cheap. But yeah, Clarence Ben, Matt Murphy, Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Matt's looking for a Depends sponsorship.
Also looking for a new executive producer of the program. He kind of knew that was coming, right? Anyway, we got a big loaded show for you today. I am not loaded. Yeah, I'm not loaded. We're not loaded.
Too.
Let me tell you this. I'm just a point of personal privilege as we begin the show, and we've got a big show coming up. We have Justin Owen from the Beacon Center on the way to unveil some of the findings in a brand new survey that the Beacon Center did across the state of Tennessee. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I had a great opportunity to sit down with Kylie Walker and Justin Owen last week with the Beacon Center. I've not had a lot of exposure to that group. I've heard about them, obviously. I know what they do. You'll find out what they do today, and I look forward to what should be a great partnership with the Beacon Center. We plan on having these guys on maybe once a month just to share with us some of the information that they can glean from some of the polling that they do. I don't trust a lot of pollsters. Y'all know me and polls, and I'll talk to Justin about this coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. I don't trust polls because most polls are weighted in such a way they're looking for outcomes. They're not looking for answers. They're looking for outcomes. They're not looking for answers. But I don't believe that that's what the Beacon Center does. So they're coming up at 4 o'clock. And, of course, Cameron Smith of the Tennessean, our weekly guest in the 5 o'clock hour and beyond on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Many of you know that for the first year that I was in Nashville, I lived in a camper in the, Jackson, you won't know to do it. Maybe I can get him to do it. Every time I mention the first home that I had up north of town. So, yeah, I lived in the grand old RV resort, convalescence home, and bat meat market. Oh, it's beautiful. That's beautiful, Jackson. I love hearing it. And for about a year, I lived up there and had a great time. If you only have 11 months to live, I advise you to buy a camper and move into a campground because let me tell you, everybody's happy in the campground. They're either, for the most part, they're either on vacation or they're retired.
Or drunk.
Well, but we repeat ourselves. I mean, you walk through the campground and somebody's going to offer you a beverage. It's nice. It's nice. So for about a year, a little less than a year, I lived up there. And since then, we've rented. E and I have rented in Mount Juliet. And it's time to find a place, and we're looking. And I saw a place online. I'm not faulting anyone for this. It's an observation. And it feels to me that maybe it works, and perhaps some of you that are in realty can call me and explain to me where I'm getting all of this wrong. But I looked at a home, and it was at the upper end of my budget. But the photos that I saw, did I show you any of these photos, Jackson? Did I actually show you the photos of the house?
Yeah, they look cool.
Did it not look gorgeous?
Looked very nice.
Can I tell you something, Jackson? Saw the house today. Looked nothing like that.
Was
Really?
it?
No.
Was it?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it was. I mean, so the property was nice and everything was good. I mean, it was. I mean, I'm not faulting anybody except for this. I understand that you want good, beautiful photos of a house. I understand that good, beautiful photos of a house up on a site like Zillow or on a realty site or wherever, they are going to help sell the home, or at least they're going to help get people to come and look at the house. But there comes a point where you're misrepresenting what you're showing. And what I saw online was a beautiful, finished, move-in ready house. And what I saw in the house was $100,000 worth of work, where you had to rip up all of the carpet, you had to paint every room in the house, you had to take off all of the, accoutrement, if you will. And I'm thinking, let me put it this way. We pull up, property looks nice, a little unkempt, but, that's fine. That's easily fixable. Good yard, fenced-in yard, yada, yada, yada. 3 minutes into walking into the house, I knew, well, this is a waste of time. We just need to get back in the truck and leave. But I have to waste another 35 minutes of my time and 35 minutes of this realtor's time walking through the thing, acting like there's any chance in hell that I'm going to buy the place. And there isn't. And he and I are like, well, we want to be nice. We want to be pleasant. But my goodness gracious.
Was there a spider?
Oh, I'm sure there were. We did not see any, but I am certain. There was a security camera in every room, and including the bedrooms. And I don't understand all
That's
of
probably
that.
for the showings.
This was the homeowner. These were mounted there by the home. They were painted, like the wiring was painted over.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, it was one of the bedrooms, which I'm going to assume was a child's bedroom because it had a big pink wall with a rainbow on it and unicorns and all of that. Had a huge chandelier in the middle of the bedroom. Just very odd. Anyway, my purpose for bringing any of this up, I don't think it does you any favors, and I just think it's a waste of everyone's time if you're showing pictures online that are misrepresentative of the home that you're actually selling. I think you'd be better served pricing the thing according to what you can actually get for it. And, there you go. Anyway, that's a public service announcement from Matt Murphy to you on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is episode 918 of our gatherings together today. It is 293 days of the Trump administration, part 2. That is the second term. Old 47's been in office for 293 of 1,460 and 0.5. You can find us on a variety of different platforms, as Ken Weaver mentioned, from Alabama to Kentucky and all points in between, 99.7 FM. You can also find us on TuneIn, Spotify, iHeart. We have our own app, and we invite you to download it and take us wherever you go. You can type in Supertalk 99.7 WTN, and there you go. You can also find us online at 997WTN.com, and then there's Talk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Rumble. We invite you to be a part of that over there. Like, subscribe, give us a thumbs up if you dare. We would appreciate you in that regard. So let me just, I'm not the guy to try to calm everyone down. Normally. But today I'm going to be a little bit of that guy. I am somewhat detached, amused, and a little bit surprised at how Republicans and conservatives and the like have fallen into this trap set by the Democrats and the mainstream media. And that's what I consider it to be. It is a talking point trap to suggest that the results, the election night results of Virginia, the election night results of New Jersey, the election night results of New York City, the election night results of California are in any way indicative of either the performance levels over the last 10 months of the Trump administration or where the vast majority of the American people are in terms of their political ideology and how they believe the country is going right now. The mainstream media, the leftist mainstream media, to include all of those that we talk about with regularity, the alphabet soups, ABC, NBC, CBS, MSNBC, of course, hashtag never CNN, don't watch it, it's a garbage network full of garbage people spewing garbage. I'll watch so you don't have to. It's an occupational hazard for me. These networks, along with their buddies on the far and extreme left, decided that they wanted to characterize what happened yesterday as a, quote, referendum on Donald Trump's presidency. And I suppose that there is some level of truth to that, but it is a minor portion of what happened yesterday. And so allow us to reset for just a moment. Now, once again, I'm not normally the guy that's trying to calm you down. I'm normally the guy that's screaming and yelling on the radio about something or another. But can we all just calm ourselves for just a moment? Did you expect New York City was going to elect a rational human being to be the next mayor? Or what? Oh, man, I didn't think they'd elect a socialist. Where have you been? Where have you been? They elected a socialist in Chicago. If you don't think Karen Bass is, for all intents and purposes, a socialist out in L.A., I don't know what to tell you. All of California is packed with them. They're all over the joint. I mean, I'm watching my Twitter feed last night, X Machine feed last night, and Representative Andy Ogles seems shocked and amazed that Zoran Mamdani, he calls himself they've elected a socialist. He's also a Muslim. Where you been, man? Where you been? I don't know exactly what you would expect. Now, Virginia is bluer than it is red, bluer than it is purple. And sadly, that is in large part due to the fact that you have hundreds of thousands of people that live in Virginia and depend on the largesse of the federal government of the United States of America. Did you expect them to vote any other way than blue? I understand that we had hope. I get it. I understand that we had hope. I have a lot more to say about this, but let me bottom line it for you right now. What happened 1 year ago yesterday is a hell of a lot more important than what happened yesterday. Or I guess it was 1 year ago today. Let me put it a better way then. Today is November 5th, 2025. What happened 1 year ago is far more important than what happened 1 day ago. That's the way that it should be put. What happened 1 year ago is a hell of a lot more important than what happened 1 day ago. And always will be. And what I hope that conservatives and Republicans are not scrambling around thinking to themselves, ooh, what do we need to change? What do we need to do differently? There are things that need to change. There are things that need to be done differently. I would agree with you there, but you should change nothing based on the results of last night. Nothing. Nothing. And you sure as hell should not initiate an elimination of the filibuster as a result of the elections from last night, although that's what the Democrats want you to do, because they're looking for a way out of the mess that they caused. I'm going to talk about that today as well. Obviously, we're going to take your telephone call. Oh, is Ted a real estate agent? Maybe he can help me out. Ted, you stay right there. I'd love to talk to you. 615-737-9986. By the way, Jackson, before I go to break, can I ask you and Ken a question?
Sure,
fellas,
you can ask me anything.
do I wear this shirt too much?
Yes.
Jackson, you seemed to answer that question very, very quickly.
I don't think I've ever seen you in that shirt.
Thank you, Ken.
Ken, that's because you're back there.
How you like it, Ken? Okay.
What's it say? I can't read.
Says-
Well, I can't, yeah, you hear me. You hear me every half hour, so you know that.
It says Nashville Golf and Athletic Club, 1979.
Ah, well.
This is my favorite comfy shirt, and I feel like I might wear it too much. But
So
I also feel like that every time I wear it, people notice it because it's bright red.
So it's soft clothes.
Oh, it is soft clothes, Ken. And it's got a hoodie on it, so you can do this.
Ah, yeah, just in case you get chilly.
That's right. In case I want to give you one of these right here.
Yeah.
And Matt had his 50th birthday party at the opening of that club in 1979.
It's unnecessarily mean. I was going to give you some Halloween candy, Jackson, while I'm wearing this hoodie. Hey, kid, you want some candy? Come get in the back of my truck. I'll give you some candy.
You're going to jail.
It's 25 after the hour. I'm going to go somewhere if I don't go to break. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I have a few preliminary details regarding the Glock store's huge Black Friday celebration. You see what we did there? Celebration. This year, the Glock store is going to blow the doors off every Black Friday sale you've ever been to. In fact, it's going to be more like a party than a sale. As a matter of fact, the details that I have that are coming together are as follows. Huge discounts on everything in the store. Tons of giveaways. You know, they gave away like tens of thousands of dollars worth of Red Dot Optics and the like during their Vortex Saturday. And this is going to blow the doors off of that thing. And if you were there, just imagine that times 10, right? Glocks, discounts on Glocks, tons of giveaways. We've got great food trucks coming, tons of giveaways. Live music, tons of giveaways. Incredible ammo and accessory prices, tons of giveaways. Have I mentioned tons of giveaways? The Glock store is going to do it the right way, friends. So I understand that you probably have big plans on Black Friday. You've probably got some places that you want to hit on Black Friday to make sure that you get that home run gift for everyone in your life. You need to go to the Glock store because it's going to be an incredible sale going on. The Black Friday celebration at the one and only Glock store, minutes away from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere, especially on Black Friday. We expect to see you there.
3:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Election 2025. While speaking at the American Business Forum in Miami today, President Trump says he plans to, quote, take care of New York after Democrat Zohran Mamdani won the city's mayoral election last night.
On November 5th, 2024, the American people reclaimed our government. We restored our sovereignty. We lost a little bit of sovereignty last night in New York, but we'll take care of it. Don't worry about it.
And a team of 28 NTSB investigators on the ground in Louisville to begin their work uncovering what caused that UPS freight plane to crash yesterday, killing at least 9 people, creating a large debris field nearly half a mile wide.
Sometimes we get some very good information from items that are found, and with a debris field a half-mile long, we're still making the determination of exactly where and what parts of the airplane and where they're at.
That's NTSB member Todd Inman confirming that the black boxes have been found in the wreckage, damaged but likely still usable in the investigation. Metro Nashville police say they'll be releasing more information about today's arrest of a suspect who fired shots from a car driving around South Nashville before he was seen carrying a rifle inside the Plaza Mariachi store on Nolensville Pike. Police said they used spike strips to stop the car about 14 miles away on Dodson Chapel Road. Channel 4's Amber Giant spoke to witnesses.
He was in the car with his friend heading out to play basketball. That's when they say that they saw a red Nissan zoom past them right before losing control, crashing into trees on the side of the road. They tell us they couldn't believe what they were seeing.
I mean, to be right by, the dude barely passed the car. Like 5-10 feet from Nashville's most wanted of the morning. That's legitimately, that's pretty scary. Especially, we just moved up here. We don't really get that back where we're from.
Unfortunately, no one was hurt, and we're still waiting for information on that suspect and maybe a motive. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, Green Hills got a crash, right shoulder block, 440 eastbound near the Woodlawn Drive overpass. Creve Hall, stalled vehicle, left shoulder block, 65 southbound at Harding Place. Talbot's Corner, a crash, 65 southbound near Trinity Lane. Capitol View, a crash, 40 westbound after Church Street. And then in Murfreesboro, we got a stalled vehicle on the left shoulder. Going to be 24 westbound before Medical Center Parkway. I'm Ken Weaver.
Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy. You know, Advanced Hair understands that at some point in your life, for many of us, for mostly men, but women too, if your hair starts thinning, your crown starts disappearing, it happens for most of us. Maybe hair loss has you feeling you're losing your identity altogether. Well, I've got some great news for you. It's an incredible yet simple one-day treatment that starts growing your own natural hair the very next day, and it's guaranteed to grow for life. It's the Advanced FUE treatment from Advanced Hair. We've all seen the pills and the lotions that come with monthly subscriptions, and nothing against them. They might help you retain what you have, but they never will regrow the hair that you've lost. From Advanced Hair's state-of-the-art facilities to their world-class doctors, it's not maybe your hair will regrow. It is guaranteed that your new hair will grow. You decide how much, where, and how thick. That's what it's all about. It's why Advanced Hair has changed tens of thousands of lives, and I recommend them to everyone. Let's get a free consultation today. $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. At 629-348-HAIR, that's 629-348-HAIR, or go to advancedhair.com. Once again, advancedhair.com.
Hey dads, want an epic night with your kids? Head to Nissan Stadium for the Nashville All-Pro Dad Experience. On November 7th from 6 to 8:30 p.m., you'll make memories with your family as you run on the field and enjoy bonding activities. Expect fun, laughs, and fatherhood tips from Tennessee Titans long snapper Morgan Cox to help you be a better dad. All for less than a trip through the drive-thru. Just $35 gets you an unforgettable time with your kids. Register today at allprodad.com/events. The Nashville All-Pro Dad Experience is brought to you by Amazon, Arby's Foundation, Coca-Cola Consolidated, Colgate Bright Smiles Bright Futures, and Pinnacle Financial Partners.
Hey friends, Matt Murphy here for King and Associates Insurance. Your home and your car, two of the things that will probably cost you more than anything else you buy in your life. I mean, they're two of your biggest investments. At King and Associates Insurance, they protect both of those things with coverage that fits your life and fits your budget. Whether you're a first-time homeowner or a growing family, or you're just shopping for better auto rates, they make it very simple at King and Associates. No salespeople, no pushy salespeople. I would not recommend a company that involves pushing you into something that you don't want to do. They just deal in personalized service and policies that actually make sense. They make it sensible for you when they talk to you about it. They're local. They're independent. I love that. Independence is key when it comes to the insurance industry because they work for you, not for the insurance companies. That's important too. So visit tkinginsurance.com or call 329-8121. 329-8121. You'll get a free quote today on home and auto. Give yourself peace of mind. 329-8121 or tkinginsurance.com. King and Associates Insurance, protecting what matters most. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Matt Murphy. This is the Matt Murphy Radio Show. 1 year ago is far more important than 1 day ago. Remember that. I would love to talk to you about the results of last night. It was a fate certain that Zoltar, Mamdani was going to be the next mayor of New York City. This could actually be a good thing. Understanding that socialism doesn't work is a good thing. Understanding that taxing individuals into oblivion and businesses into oblivion, it does not work. Governor Bill Lee put out something earlier today. Did y'all see this? Where Governor Bill Lee said, hey, by the way, if you're in New York, if you're in New York City and you're looking for a place to relocate, Tennessee's open for business. No income tax down here. We'd love to see you. We'd love to help you. Just let us know how we can, and we will. All these businesses and all these business people and all these millionaires that have been vilified by the new mayor of New York City, come on down. Just don't bring your politics here. Understand that we think a little bit differently about the role of government in the state of Tennessee than y'all do up there. You know, as bad as some in this state, some so-called conservatives in this state want to badmouth the state of Tennessee, it ain't all bad, folks. I understand that it could be better, but it's not all bad. I just get sick to my stomach when I listen to some of these people badmouth this state and badmouth some of the good people that we have in positions of power in this state. Once again, that is not to suggest that they can't be better. They can, all of them. All of them. But it could be a hell of a lot worse. I would put us as a state, where would y'all put us? Honest rating, where would you put us as a state? Top 5? In terms of economic and personal liberty and freedom?
Yeah.
I would put us top 5. I mean, you know, Florida's right up there, obviously. Texas is right up there, obviously. I think Tennessee's right up there.
Well, people move to where the jobs are, and there are lots of people moving here.
Amen, brother. Amen. You know, for those of you that have been here a long time, and a lot of people want to explain to me, Murphy, you've only been here 4 years. You need to get straight with it. That's fine. I have a lot to learn. Even after 4 years, I've got plenty to learn about this beautiful state that I now call home, the volunteer state. But I know this. If y'all have never lived anywhere else, let me, and I know Ken Weaver has lived other places. Hey, Ken, they got an income tax out there in Oklahoma.
Yes, they do.
They do. Mm-hmm.
And they're trying to get rid of it.
Yeah, are they?
Yes.
I bet they're having trouble doing that.
I don't know. I think they'll be
get
successful.
It? You think they'll get it? Well, good for them.
I think they're red.
Good for them. You know, I mean, the point is, I lived in Georgia. Good gracious, I lived in Connecticut. Woo!
You talk about taxes.
Oh, my word. I wasn't even making any money, and I was getting taxed out the wazoo.
I tell you where you get taxed, and that's Arkansas.
Arkansas?
Yes, sir.
Really?
Dude.
What's Sarah Huckabee Sanders doing over there?
Well, I don't know if Sarah, if that's the case now, but when I lived in Arkansas, we're talking early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
Not only did you get you got taxed for the same thing on both the state, county, and local levels.
I think we as a state, even someplace like that, Ken, and I guess maybe the Bill Clinton stinky was still on the state, maybe.
Maybe.
Clinton, even after he left Arkansas, was still a little stinky on the pinky, so to speak. Anyway, so, maybe still some Democrat stink. They didn't flip totally Republican in Arkansas. I want to say when Tom Cotton won the Senate seat, Mark Pryor was out there, and I think he was a Democrat. If my memories, let me make sure I'm remembering.
I think you're right.
Let me make sure I'm remembering this because Pryor left, and he was the last.
Whenever I was there, the legislature was blue. Like the Senate and the House were both Democratic. Now, Governor Huckabee was the governor. So you did have a Republican governor. But both the House and the Senate, they were majority blue.
Mm-hmm. United States Senator from Arkansas in office from January 2003 to January 2015. He was succeeded by Tom Cotton, and he was a Democrat. Yeah, so he's a Democrat. So, different states in the South transition from their Democrat history to Republican at different times. Point being, I would put Tennessee in the top 5. Now, that does not and will not mean that we should not demand better. We should demand as good as we can get. We should demand more. And I'm going to launch a campaign here in the next several weeks to begin a conversation about how to eliminate property taxes in the state of in the volunteer state, in the state of Tennessee. Because I don't see why we couldn't do that. Now, it's going to involve some reconfiguring of sales tax revenues because the state is going to want to get certain amounts of revenue to run the state. I understand that. It's going to involve tightening belts. But I believe the money is there. And I believe the ability exists that we could permanently eliminate property taxes in this state. And, oh, by the way, if you don't dream big, you don't go anywhere. Like we were saying the other day, if you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. You're right. And I believe we can do better. But that doesn't mean that we're not doing pretty good already. Some states, not so much. Virginia, not so much. Virginia, sadly, has become an annex of the federal government, largely. Ted, I promised I'd get to you, and I'm sorry that I was rambling there for a minute. Ted's a real estate guy, so he might understand a little more than me how all of this is done. I was complaining at the beginning of the show. Hey, Ted.
Yes, hey, Matt. Enjoyed listening to you all the time.
I'm glad you did.
I'm not a real estate guy, but I've bought and sold several houses over the years, and I can tell you a lot of the real estate pictures are not representative of the houses they're trying to sell.
Well, I can tell you that too, Ted. I went through one this morning.
Years ago, I'd say back in early 1990s, we sold our first house, and it just took like a regular, like a Polaroid. Nowadays, you're dealing with, almost like professional photographers, professional lenses, professional angles. They can take that $100,000 house now and make it look like $1 million mansion.
Yeah, and I don't feel like I'm asking too much, Ted, that I understand that you want to make the house pretty. I understand that you're going to do the best you can, but I felt like, and I'm not wagging my finger at anyone in particular, but I felt like what I saw online was misrepresentative of what I saw inside of the house. And I'm like, At some point, that's fine. That's all well and good. It's no skin off my nose. But I feel like we're just wasting everyone's time.
It just seems like it's gotten worse in the last few years, especially with motel rooms, too. If you're on vacation, make sure you look in an area that you like. Go look at the rooms there. Because if you look at the way it's represented on the Internet, it's totally different. Because we've gotten rooms before and even condos and rented condos. And when we got there, it totally didn't look like what we were looking at on the Internet. So it's very misrepresented these days, it seems like.
No, I agree with you. I mean, and you know, once again, I don't know that there's anything to be done about it because they do, you know, as one of our super texters just said, Ted, they're trying to put lipstick on that pig because they're trying to sell the pig. And I get it. But I just feel like, you know, if you want to waste everyone's time, that's all well and good. But if you don't, then let's be a little more representative of the thing that we're selling, and you might have a bit more success. Ted, thank you for the call. 46 after the hour, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Talking about what went down last night and how the media is intentionally representing it as a quote-unquote loss for Trump. Look, Donald Trump wasn't on the ballot. He reminded us of that this morning. We all know that, Mr. President. Thing is, Mr. President, you're never going to be on the ballot again, and we've got to figure out how to motivate Republicans when you're not there. Now, I don't suggest that that was the case last evening. Now, you could look at some of these places and say that Republican effort was down. Perhaps Republican turnout was down. But really, did you expect? I mean, maybe New Jersey, the governor's race in New Jersey, but my goodness gracious, New Jersey's blue. New York sure as hell is blue. Even if Curtis Sliwa didn't exist and every single one of his votes went over to, what's his name, Cuomo, damaged goods there, you're still... We played a clip yesterday where a woman said that she voted for Mom Dami or Mom Don. Why can't you get it right? I don't care enough to get it right. It's Mom Donnie. Mom Donnie. Mom Donnie. Socialist. Karl Marx. Yeah, I got it. Karl Marx. Karl Marx up there in New York City. One, because he has a pretty good personality. If you listen to him give a speech, he talks in ways that are reminiscent of Bill Clinton or Barack Obama. These politicians that talk in non-definitive terms, that talk about lofty goals, about, we need to, and I can do it too, right? Ladies and gentlemen, we need to restore the America that you and I grew up in. We need to restore the America that you and I believe in. We need to bring back that America that brings hope to every home and food to every table. We need an America where if you work hard and you do your best on a day-to-day basis, you can succeed. Can I get a yes? And what have I said? I've said nothing. You know what I mean? That's Mom Donnie. That's the little Karl Marx. He says nothing. I want a city that's affordable. I want a city that average people can live in. I want a city where you can walk down the street and you don't have to fear crime coming out of the shadows. And you don't have to fear those police officers that are on the beat are going to do you harm either. I believe in a city where you can take your children to the park and you don't have to worry about nightfall. And yes, I believe in a city where you can open up your wallet and go and have a nice meal with you and your loved ones and your family, and it won't break the bank. We can be there again. What have I said, Jackson? Squat is the answer. Nothing. It's all just blah, 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 blah.
You said what every politician has been saying since day one.
I mean, it's not that hard. It's one of the reasons, and I haven't said this to y'all yet, but I made a decision about a month ago that I'm not inviting politicians on the show anymore. Those that come on the show will come on the show because of a specific issue item, or they can ask us, and we'll let them on. because it doesn't feel like there's a lot of value to it anymore. Do y'all feel the same way? I mean, I love some of these folks. They're good people. Don't get me wrong. But is there any value listening to, I don't know. I don't want to name anyone in particular because I don't want to come off as picking on them. But, I mean, I could do those interviews by myself, in other words. Y'all get what I'm saying? Your time's valuable. I could, for the most part, name me a politician and I could do the interview myself, where I ask the questions and I can tell you exactly how the questions are going to be answered. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating. One of the reasons that Donald Trump brings it out, one of the reasons that Donald Trump brings the votes, one of the reasons that you see an enthusiasm is because, gosh, if I did not have an FCC confining me, there's a way of putting this that is the exact right way of putting it. Love the man or hate the man, Donald Trump is not full of crap. He says what's on his mind. He is authentic. And he does not care how you or me or anyone else perceives what he has to say. And he's not afraid to go there. And my God, isn't that wonderful? Should we not appreciate that? So I'm just kind of over it with regard to talking suits or talking skirts. Once again, no disrespect to any of my friends in that arena. I just, I haven't finalized my decision-making on it. I haven't figured out exactly how I'm going to do it because there's some value to have, certain people who are in the General Assembly on during a General Assembly time. I'll have Sapicki's coming on tomorrow, but he's going to talk about the Columbia Dam. He's going to talk about a couple of other things in Memphis. So, I haven't finalized the idea, but it's been, we're one big family. It's been running through my head for months that we should just stop having them on, and that there is far more value in me talking to Steven on line one than it is me talking to a politician. Or you. Or you, or you, or you, or you, or you. You have more value because you're real. You're telling me what the pocketbook issues are, what the dinner table issues are, and I just don't feel like I get that very much from others. One way or the other, Virginia was always going to be a heavy lift. New Jersey, it seemed like it was a little bit of a less heavy lift, but it is what it is. New Jersey's a blue state. California's a blue state. New York City is obviously a blue area, and so it is what it is. Obviously, Donald Trump said last night, and he's not wrong. He blamed the shutdown in part. He isn't wrong. The GOP is in charge. They're looked at as in charge, and those not really paying attention to what's going on in the shutdown can allow themselves to believe that the GOP is responsible for opening the government back up when it's the Democrats that are actually directly responsible for that mismanagement. 54 after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. If you are in business, might I beg of you to go get a pen or pencil, piece of paper, or something to write on your hand, for goodness sake, if you need to, because you need this telephone number. You need Michael and his team at Alpha and Omega in your life, because Michael and his team can eliminate any and all time spent worrying about your IT issues, worrying about anything that involves your computer systems or your emails or your servers or cybersecurity or printers or whatever it might be involved in communicating through computers or storing information. They can protect you at Alpha and Omega. One of the reasons that they're called Alpha and Omega is because they start at the beginning and they go to the end, and it's all things computers, right? So if you're a business owner and you're worried about ransomware, business owner worried about cybersecurity, and you should be, business owner and worried about your next IT contract, would you call Alpha and Omega? They're local. Every person that you talk to on the phone during your time with Alpha and Omega is right here in Middle Tennessee. They don't farm it out, and they will never farm it to some sort of AI bot or whatnot. They don't do that at Alpha and Omega. So give them a call at 615-784-0096, 784-0096, or ANO.net. That's A&O.net.
Four o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes, and Metro Police say no one was hurt when a man drove around South Nashville today, firing off a rifle. He had just left the Plaza Mariachi store on Nolensville Pike, seen on security camera inside the store, carrying the rifle, seemingly looking for someone, going aisle to aisle before he left the store. Police spiked his tires about 14 miles away on Dodson Chapel Road. We're waiting for more details on the suspect and a motive. Government shutdown. The FAA just announced it's cutting airline traffic by 10% in 40 major U.S. cities, including Nashville, starting Friday. It comes amid staffing shortages. Travelers should expect longer delays and possible cancellations as the system adjusts. Meanwhile, speaking at the American Business Forum in Miami today, President Trump told attendees who you can blame.
The reckless Democrat shutdown. Virtually every Democrat in Congress has voted to hold the American people hostage.
Trump said they're trying to use coercion to pivot back to failed Biden policies. New information about the crash of that UPS MD-11 jet that crashed on takeoff from Louisville yesterday. At least 11 people now confirmed dead on the plane and on the ground. The latest from ABC's Alex Stone.
The NTSB says it has found the plane's cockpit voice recorder and the flight data recorder, the so-called black boxes. They suffered some heat damage, but the NTSB is confident it will get good data once the boxes are analyzed at a lab. NTSB board member Todd Inman says it's known the left engine of the plane detached from the wing while the plane was rolling down the runway.
After being cleared for takeoff, a large plume of fire in the area of the left wing occurred.
As the plane crashed and spread burning jet fuel, the fire stretched almost half a mile, according to the NTSB. Alex Stone, ABC News.
American household debt has climbed to a record $18.6 trillion, with credit card balances hitting an all-time high of $1.23 trillion. Rising interest rates keep average APRs above 21%, making it harder for families to manage growing balances. Delinquencies surging, especially among younger and lower income borrowers, and southern states are seeing the sharpest increase that is in missed payments. Economists are warning this trend could strain regional economies and deepen financial stress for millions. Meanwhile, the worst thing that's ever happened to one family in Phoenix may provide the best hope of a better life for dozens of other people around the country, says Jim Ryan.
A week ago, Dylan Scalina, like any other 12-year-old, was looking forward to Halloween. But when he got home from trick-or-treating, he suffered a fatal brain aneurysm. He had talked during his life about being an organ donor, and his parents have honored his wish to help others.
I feel like they're very blessed, especially whoever's getting his heart.
Megan Scalina is Dylan's mother.
They get a big piece of Dylan that made him who he was. He had so much love.
Today would have been Dylan's 13th birthday. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, we're getting that usual build-up. Northbound 65 up to the South Loop. It's complete stop and go at times. We got a crash over here on Capitol View. This is going to be 40 westbound after Church Street, then 440 eastbound near the Woodlawn Drive overpass. Stalled vehicle in Murfreesboro, left shoulder block, 24 westbound before Medical Center Parkway. Then Creve Hall, a stalled vehicle, left shoulder blocked, 65 southbound at Harding Place. I'm Ken Weaver.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN, hour number 2 of the Matt Murphy Radio Show. Don't forget Cameron Smith, our weekly guest from the Tennessee and good friend of the show. He'll be with us in the 5 o'clock hour. Nincompoops in the news in the 5 o'clock hour as well. Already dissecting some of the results from last night's political races. Donald Trump says showdown, at least partially to blame in Virginia. I don't disagree with him. I think it's true. I think for whatever reason, well, I don't even say for whatever reason. I would suggest to you that people that are predisposed to vote left understand that Republicans are less dependent on government than the left. And so regardless of who is directly responsible for the immediate shutdown, they understand who is pro-government and who is maybe not so favorable to big government, and so they're going to blame the Republicans on that front. Talking about all of those things throughout the course of the day today on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Obviously, several of you wanting to comment on the phone lines. Just be patient with me there because we've got a guest in studio. I'm very excited about this one as well. I've heard a lot about the Beacon Center of Tennessee. And I'm not going to tell you all about the Beacon Center of Tennessee, because why should I do that when we have the CEO of the Beacon Center of Tennessee in studio with us, and he's going to let you know the mission of the Beacon Center directly. It was my pleasure to be able to get together with the group and specifically with Justin Owen last week. We invited him on the show. I want to make this a regular occurrence where they come on and talk about some of the wonderful things they're doing at the Beacon Center, and it is a pleasure to welcome into the studio Justin Owen of the Beacon Center. Hey, Justin.
Thanks, Matt. I appreciate you having me on. I think you even met a fan when you came to see us in the parking lot, didn't you? Give out signatures. Can you go anywhere without having to do that?
So that was pretty cool. So it was like drizzling rain, and you guys are over. For those that don't know, your headquarters are, at least for now, over in the old Marathon Works building, which is a great. If y'all have never been, you got to go. I can't imagine that y'all haven't been.
Cool
but
space.
It is a wonderful location, and so I go over and I park, and I had to pay, the guy in the little booth to park, and he opens his door and it's like drizzling rain, and I couldn't help but notice I heard Ken Weaver's voice on. Ken Weaver back there in News Closet B. His voice was on the radio, and I said, and I said, I did this intentionally, Justin. I said, "What are you listening to in there?" Kind of gave him a face, and he goes, "Oh, well, it's I just I keep my radio on the news station." And I said, "Who's your favorite?" And he kind of looked at me funny, and I took up my hand and said I was Matt Murphy. But he's a good guy, Raphael.
That's awesome.
He's a great musician. So tell me a little about the Beacon Center. I know a little. I don't know as much as I want to know, but you guys have been around how long, and what do you do?
We just celebrated our 20th anniversary last year. So we've been around for a while, and our job is to make America the best place to live, work, and raise a family. And those things just don't happen by accident, right? Mm-hmm. It's a matter of good policies and good ideas and solving people's problems, frankly, from our perspective, in a way that involves less government and more freedom. And so we propose solutions at predominantly the state level. In order to do that, we've helped cut taxes numerous times in the state. We got rid of our hall income tax so we could quit lying to people that we were an income tax-free state for all those years. We got rid of our death tax. We banned an income tax in our state constitution. We've helped protect right to work in our state constitution, which is going to be a big deal here soon when the UAW strikes at the Volkswagen plant in Chattanooga. Those workers can still go to work if they want and cross the picket line without getting fired.
Nice.
And so we've brought school choice to Tennessee. We've big proponents of universal school choice and empowering parents to choose the best education for their kids, ultimately looking at ways to make Tennessee the best place that people want to be, either stay here or move here. And you can't do that with weather. You can't do that with other things. Look, California has the best weather in the world, yet people are fleeing it in droves because of bad policy. We want to be the opposite of that and show other states how it's done. And fortunately, I got the best job in the world because we're at the tip of the spear on a lot of those debates.
Did you grow up here?
I did. I grew up in rural West Tennessee on a farm. Went to MTSU undergrad, Memphis Law School. Don't hold that against me. I've never practiced law, so I'm technically a lawyer, but don't practice in day-to-day life. So I'm not to blame for all that.
The 2% of the lawyers that I would consider good people instruct us as to the other 98%. Does that make sense to you? Right.
Yep.
So, and I'm sure you're among the good 2%.
I'll take it.
I often say it occurs to me, Justin, that I could ask you this question, being a native Tennessean, that being an outsider, and I know you don't win any awards or any accolades doing this, but I try to remind the people of the great state of Tennessee that I understand we can be better. I understand that we can do better. I understand that we should expect the most out of the political figures that are called to public service. But Tennessee's got it pretty good. And that's coming from the perspective of a guy that grew up in Georgia, saw how they did it. And this is not comparing Tennessee against the most blue of the states across the United States of America. This is comparing Tennessee to our brothers and sisters around us, right? I lived in Alabama for 20 years. Alabama's a great state. Alabama's a red state. But I come to Tennessee, and there's so many wonderful things, wonderful aspects about this state that I think many other places that would call themselves red would long to have, primarily, and you named it, the lack of an income tax.
Yeah, and I think the beautiful thing about being in a country with 50 states is that we can have those laboratories of democracy and try different things. But the challenge is, if we rest on our laurels and don't do anything, other states are going to start getting better than us because they're going to enact policies that are more attractive for jobs and opportunity. And so we've got to stay on the front lines of that. I would love to work myself out of a job someday and say, you know what, there's no more to be done here. But unfortunately, even politicians on our own side have to be held accountable. And our job is to hold them accountable. And if they're with us, make sure that they have good ideas and good policy solutions to make us even better of a state.
How did, were you on the, and forgive my ignorance, but I guess that's why you're here, so we can learn, but were you on the front lines of creating the Beacon Center when it started 20 years ago?
I was not. I came around 4 years after we were founded, but took it from, at the time, we were 2 employees. We now are at about a dozen fully staffed up. We've added some other components. We've added a litigation arm. So we actually, in addition to the policy and advocacy we do at the legislature here in Nashville, we also will take on people's cases when the government violates their constitutional rights free of charge.
Nice.
We don't charge them anything for that. And we just filed our first ever case before the U.S. Supreme Court and should hear in the next couple of weeks whether that case is granted. And then last year, but 2023, so 2 years ago now, we launched a statewide poll, which we're going to talk about here in a little bit, to really inform Tennesseans about these issues.
What instructs you as to whether or not, because people hear this and they're going to, I hope, inundate you in your email inbox with, hey, I got a case for you. The government's doing this, the government's doing that. What kind of instructs you as to whether or not it's a fit for the Beacon Center to talk to individuals that feel like the government has done something that's burdensome to their individual liberty or freedom?
Yeah, from a litigation standpoint, our focus is really on 2 areas. It's the right to earn a living and property rights. And so a lot of these licensing boards that shut people down, keep them from getting a license. We had a client once who wanted to be a barber, but he didn't have a high school degree. He had to drop out of high school to raise his siblings when his parents were killed in a car crash. Very sad situation. And this stupid state law said you have to have a high school degree to be a barber. We challenged it and said there's no constitutional reason that he should be prevented from doing what he loves and earning a living doing that because of this law, and got that struck down in court. So a lot of it's around these kind of licensing schemes that keep people out of jobs that they're qualified for and they want. And then property rights is another big one. Local governments in particular are just constantly trampling on people's property rights. Nashville had this stormwater situation where if you wanted to add a mother-in-law suite or redevelop your property, our client wanted to tear down his house and build another house on it he had owned for many years. And the government of Nashville said, well, in order to do that, you have to dig up all the stormwater drains in front of your house on the street and replace them. Tens of thousands of dollars a cost sometimes for people to do this. And we won't give you your building permit until you do that. And so that's essentially amounts to extortion. And we sued them and they backed down. And we just literally this week settled our case for $1.4 million.
Oh, wow.
So every single person in Nashville who paid into that fund will get 100% refund back to them in the money that they paid, because the city should not have taken that money from them.
I've not looked into it in the state of Tennessee, but I know in my 20 plus years in the state of Alabama, we went through the amount of licensing that the state did for various different professions. And you kind of alluded to it with the barber profession, right? And it was just such an obvious money scheme.
Yep.
Right. It was just a way. I mean, when you can call something a licensing fee instead of a tax, which they're all taxes, right? Exactly. And so, so cosmetologists, nail salon stylists, beauty salons, hair, they all had to be licensed in the state of Tennessee. And I just made it a personal, mission. It's like, why are we forcing a nail salon to license each individual, fingernail person? It's ridiculous, and it's just a money grab on the part of the government.
And there's plenty of other ways to protect people. You don't go into a restaurant and say, hey, chef, let me see your license before I eat your food. We rely on health inspections to do that, right? There are other ways and less intrusive ways to protect consumers. The craziest one we ever worked on was hair braiding. We've had all of these mostly Western African immigrants who had come here and learned to braid hair when they were 3 years old. It was part of their culture. And they get here and they're like, I'm going to braid hair on the side so I can put myself through college.
Sure.
And the government would shut them down and go, no, you've got to take, it was like 400 hours of schooling and 2 tests in order to prove to us, some, white dude like me, that you know how to braid hair. And so we had about 24 women who came to the legislature every single week to fight for their rights, and we got that repealed. Prior to that, there were only about 120 people licensed to braid hair in the state because it was so onerous to go through that. Today, there are over 4,000 predominantly women, predominantly minority women, braiding hair across the state, starting businesses, hiring other people, living the American dream, because we were able to partner with them and get the government out of their way.
As a known libertarian with a small L, sometimes I get pushback on libertarians being, in certain ways, anarchists, or, they don't want government to touch people's lives in any way whatsoever. I use the health inspection example as a way to explain to them how we want government to touch our lives, because if we had the ability, this is the way I explain it. Look, I should expect that if I go into a restaurant, that restaurant's clean. I should have an expectation that they're not going to do things that might endanger me or my health, the health of my family. And if we had a way for every person that walked through every restaurant door to inspect that restaurant on their own, I'm fine with that, right? But we don't.
But it's not practical, right?
It's not a practical way to do it. So what do? We empower our government to do it for us and to post publicly what they find out about. That's the way that it should work. Now, that's a light touch where government says, hey, we have a certain level of expectation for the business that you run, and we're going to do this for the safety of the consumers.
Yep.
Makes sense to me.
And there are plenty of other opportunities where we can protect public health and safety without having to put somebody through the ringer in order to get a job.
Or without having to charge them insane
hundreds
amounts of
and
money.
thousands of dollars sometimes.
Right. All right. So I'm excited to have you guys here. If any of you have questions for Justin with the Beacon Center, get them in on the super text line, 615-737-9986. We're going to get into this poll. I'm excited about the poll. I do want to ask you about can you talk at all about the Supreme Court what you might be doing? Oh, we'll do that next. It's 20 after the hour. Justin Owens with us with the Beacon Center at Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy for Shane Ring and Cover Nash. You know, it is important to understand that in a lot of companies, if you go online and you look up health insurance and you call someone, or if you get a telephone call and you talk to somebody about your health insurance, that sadly, oftentimes they're trying to sell you singular products or a group of product. What that means is they're working for that company, not for you, and you become the customer to the company. Instead, Shane Ring has looked at it a different way. If you're tired of health insurance that feels like a mathematics exam, or you don't feel like you're being told the full story, I want to encourage you to call Shane Ring and Cover Nash, because Shane got it going on, and it's in open enrollment now. Shane has told us all the year, and it is true, that you do not have to wait for open enrollment to make changes on your health insurance. There are ways to get that done. But if you're self-employed, uninsured, or you're just tired of paying too much, and now's the time, Obamacare is, let's just put it plainly, an absolute failure. For most people that are experiencing it, you need relief. Premiums for 2026 are shooting up, in some cases tripling, with sky-high deductibles to match. Shane Ring can help you navigate this minefield and come out better on the other side. Cover Nash is real health coverage for you, run by you, not by the government of the United States. So call him today. It's Cover Nash, 615-465-0023. 615-465-0023, or online at covernash.com. That's covernash.com.
Major announcement today that is sure to impact travel plans. We'll tell you about it at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Thank you, Ken Weaver. It is the Matt Murphy Radio Show in progress. Proud to have Justin Owen in studio with us. He is the CEO of the Beacon Center. It's a great organization. Is it fair to call you, you're a think tank organization,
Yeah,
right?
we're a think tank, but we do more than research. You know, think tanks can kind of get this rap for being sitting up in their ivory tower writing 50-page white papers that nobody reads. I don't even read 50-page white papers, and I run a think tank. But so we try to put that into practice, right? And go out and we do listening tours to really understand what are the challenges that Tennesseans are facing, hearing things about infrastructure and housing and education and healthcare, and develop free market solutions to those. And then we'll go up to the legislature and advocate for it.
Well, and in the interest of full transparency, I didn't tell you this the other day. I was so excited that Kylie reached out to me. I was so excited to have a meeting with you because this just seems a match made in heaven. And I'll tell you why. Because just about every special interest group has a seat on Capitol Hill or at the Capitol in Washington, D.C. Independent thinkers, people that just want the government to leave them alone to their own responsibilities and their own judgment, oftentimes they don't have a seat at the table because there's really not an organizational interest in doing that. And
average taxpayers don't have that voice.
And I feel like the Beacon Center represents that voice.
Yeah, we try to be the voice of the taxpayers against those special interests. We kind of joke, we're your special interest, average citizen, because you don't have that. And you know what? You don't have time to go up to the legislature and talk to your lawmakers and that kind of thing because you got jobs, you got mouths to feed, you got a family you're busy. We want to go do that for you. And we do make it easy. If people want to email their legislator, we make it super easy for them to do on our issues and the things that they care about because that's important for them to hear from you. But you can't be up there all day, every day. And I guarantee you the other side, the people that are trying to grow government and take more of your tax dollars and have more control over your lives, they've got those their special interests are up there, and they've got their lobbyists, and in many cases, these local governments in particular are using your taxpayer money to fund it.
I was a fan of the school choice legislation, the Freedom Scholarship Fund, because I'm a fan of giving parents any and every tool possible to help them be better able to make good decisions about their children's education. And I felt like this was something that was doing that. Were you surprised at the amount of conservative pushback?
At conservative pushback, yeah. We expected, pushback on the left. It's become a litmus test for Democrats, right? There used to be Democrats that supported school choice. Now they don't really even support charter schools, which are public schools that just have more autonomy. So not surprising there. And, we've always had some rural Republicans who have chafed at it. Their largest employer is often their school district, right? So their superintendent and their school board and the teachers' unions and those groups have an outsized influence on them. But, yeah, some of the conservative pushback we think was and misguided, too. I mean, at the end of the day, this is about empowering parents with options. Parents are taxpayers. And when you choose to put your kid in a private school, you don't stop paying taxes that go to education. So we're just saying you get to keep a portion of that to put your kid in private school. And so many families are stuck in terrible schools that aren't meeting their needs, or good schools that they're getting bullied in and it's just not a good fit for their kid. Give that family an option to choose a better school. And yeah, we were surprised at some of the pushback, but at the end of the day, just because there's a loud vocal minority does not mean that they represent everybody in the state, because we've polled this over and over and over, and consistently more than 2/3 of Tennesseans support this. 75% of Republican voters support this. President Trump endorsed this specific bill, Governor Lee's specific bill. We have asked in our polling about what this specific bill does and whether you support it. And the overwhelming percentage of voters support it because they know parents are in the best position to make these decisions, not government bureaucrats, not school board members and politicians. Parents know best for their child, and this gives them that option.
Well, I mean, we try to be an educational outlet here on the Matt Murphy Show, and I would tell you, Justin, I don't know if you know this or not, but I thought that the Metro Nashville school system was having trouble. I thought they were. I thought they were maybe failing their kids. But then I saw Adrienne Battle's offices and her new bathroom.
Swanky.
Oh, my goodness gracious. So I was like, well, then clearly they're doing a great job if they're spending $200,000 on an office redo and a new bathroom, right?
I barely have a private bathroom in my own house to share.
For those that don't know, Adrienne Battle, the head of the Metro Nashville school system, I mean, I feel like she would be ashamed if she had any shame. I don't think she really does. But it was discovered that they redid her offices, I think at the tune of almost $200,000.
Yeah, it's like $160,000, I think.
And meantime, they're paying off lawsuits and they're doing all these types of things. And the children aren't reading at the levels that they should be. Quick time out for news. When we come back, we're going to dig into this poll. I'm excited about it. We'll get into some poll questions and tell you where the people of Tennessee are. Now, you guys know where I'm at on polls. And some of the folks are like, Matt, I thought you hated polls. Well, I'm going to explain, or at least I'll let Justin explain to you why this is the type of polling that I believe in. Polling that is transparent. The metrics make sense. We'll talk about all of that in a moment. 31 after the hour on Super Talk.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And right now in Nashville, an armed man who police say drove around South Nashville firing a rifle today is in custody. He was first seen carrying the rifle inside Plaza Mariachi on Nolensville Pike before he left in a red Nissan Sentra. Witnesses described to Channel 4 the moment police spiked the suspect's tires and he crashed into some trees in Hermitage.
I mean, a line of like 15, 20 cop cars behind him. He goes right around that little turn, so we can't like physically see what happened to him. But like those 20 cop cars were all pulling up, blocking the road and starting to make a perimeter.
We kept saying they got the Joker. Like it was just they got some supervillain going, if they got this many cops.
And we're still waiting for police to release details on the suspect as far as his identity and motive. Major announcement today that is sure to impact travel plans.
Citing air traffic controller stress and fatigue 5 weeks into the shutdown, the Trump administration says starting Friday, it will force a 10% reduction in flights in 40 high-traffic markets. FAA Administrator Brian Bedford.
We're going to ask the airlines to work with us collaboratively to reduce their schedules.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says further cutbacks of flights may be necessary.
I anticipate there will be additional disruptions. There'll be frustration.
Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
Nashville's one of those cities impacted. NTSB investigators are on the scene of a UPS plane crash in Louisville that killed at least 11 people. Speaking with reporters today, NTSB member Todd Inman confirmed the black boxes have been found in the wreckage, damaged, but likely still usable in the investigation.
We have investigators now that have located it. As you can imagine, it is in... It's suffered some heat, not intrusion, but heat around it. These recorders are built for that.
Search and rescue efforts at the site of the crash, they're still ongoing. Multiple people in the hospital, 2 people critical, and so far 11 dead and as many as 16 missing. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, in addition to the usual slowdowns, we have crashes to contend with. Right now, Capitol View, that's going to be 40 westbound after Church Street. On the North Loop, left shoulder blocked, 65 northbound near the North Split. And in Madison, we got a crash, 65 northbound approaching Old Hickory Boulevard. Green Hills, an accident, right shoulder blocked, 440 eastbound after Woodlawn Drive overpass. Creve Hall stalled a vehicle on the left shoulder, 65 southbound at Harding Place. I'm Ken Weaver.
All right, so we're so lucky to have Genesis Diamonds, 2 locations in Middle Tennessee, in Nashville, Tennessee. They are a locally owned diamond jewelry store, right? So Genesis can stay ahead of the curve. They can make decisions on site that the big corporate jewelers simply can't make, and that makes Genesis a refreshing alternative. But they're big enough that they cut out the middleman when it comes to acquiring the diamonds, to buying the diamonds, and without those middleman price markups, there's nothing wrong. Nobody's doing anything wrong here when I tell you this, but most jewelry stores, they buy from a broker, and that broker buys from where the diamonds come from. And with that step in the operation, they charge for that step. And so those jewelry stores charge you more. They don't do that at Genesis Diamonds. So naturally, they can charge less for the same beautiful, brilliant quality diamonds that you see within the showroom. Secondly, there are no commissioned salespeople at Genesis Diamonds, which is nice. So I walk in and you know what? I don't know what I'm doing. Because I'm a guy and I don't know anything about diamonds. But they'll feed you baby birds, men. They'll take you by the hand. They'll walk through the store. They give you a beverage. You can get a glass of wine or whatever, or, or soda, sweet tea, whatever you want. And they'll explain the diamond buying process to you. And if you're thinking about holidays, think no further than Genesis Diamonds. It's the absolute home run gift that she won't be talking about this year, but next year, and for years and years to come. It will be literally a generational opportunity for you. You'll never be treated like a number at Genesis. So, Genesis Diamonds, my jeweler. I want them to be yours. Green Hills and Cool Springs. Go by today. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, Matt Murphy, the Matt Murphy Radio Show. It is 20, call it 20 until 5 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. Our guest in studio for the hour is Justin Owen. He is with the Beacon Center, great organization in the state of Tennessee, and one that I want to get to know better. And listen, I hope this goes well because I've told Justin he's got to come back every month. And because you guys have your finger on the pulse of taxpayer-related issues. I love that. I love that you're a voice for the taxpayer, and you're not. How do you, before we get into the polls, how do you help maintain a sense of objectivity and how do you keep above the fray when it comes to the political winds of the day? Does that question make sense to you, Justin?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. We are in a political world, right? And we understand.
And everybody's pulling you.
Yeah, and by and large, legislators, they respond more to political answers than policy answers, right? They don't really give a damn about our research sometimes if it's going to cost them their election.
Right.
And so our job is kind of to figure out what is good policy and good politics. And that's part of where the poll comes in, is to really assess, like, where do Tennesseans stand on these issues? And we'll publish results in the poll that aren't favorable to us because we show ourselves that we have work to do to convince voters. But there are plenty of issues where voters are in lockstep with our position and are very supportive of our solutions. And that helps us make the case to legislators that, hey, your constituents want this. And part of it, too, is to actually work on the issues that matter. And we do listening tours and focus groups and things to really go straight to Tennesseans and hear from them, like, what is a hurdle in your life? What are you struggling with that we need to know about, so that we're not just assuming we have all the answers, right? And we'll come up with a free market solution to those problems because, again, our perspective is less government is better, and we can solve these problems with free people rather than more government programs.
I wanted to continue this relationship between myself and the Beacon Center in an arena of trust. And so I want Kylie to hear this because she's sitting over in the corner. I got the poll yesterday, and I desperately wanted to tell the results of socialism in the state of Tennessee. And I teased it yesterday. I said, tomorrow you're going to hear these results. But I did not, because I respect the embargo. And anybody within the world of politics understands, or in the world of, like, media, you understand the embargo. Don't say anything about this until it's time to say something about it.
I've literally gotten yelled at by reporters who thought somebody else broke the embargo. And that reporter then accidentally broke the embargo in one of the polls and released
because they thought somebody else had broken the embargo?
No, they actually put, when they released it on their webpage, they put, it's like PM the day before instead of AM the next morning. So they released it 12 hours early after they had yelled at me over the embargo issue.
Convenient mistake.
I won't say which reporter
that's
that
actually,
was.
Actually, that's a pretty good trick. I'm gonna remember that one. I thought it said AM. What, it was PM? Oh, I must have misread it. So, Tennessee. So, tell me about the poll. How many folks? Yep. What is the methodology? Give me kind of the nuts and bolts of it.
So, I'll kind of go back a little bit further and say we really launched the poll because the only place people could go to understand where Tennesseans stood on issues was the Vandy poll. And they didn't release their methodology, their questions. It was very shrouded in secrecy until we complained about it. And they finally came out and provided some of that information. And then we find out that it's so heavily weighted to urban areas, they really don't give a voice to rural Tennesseans. And by and large, because of that, urban areas are more blue. That had a Democrat bent. And so they had, like, Mitt Romney beating, or Obama beating or getting close to Mitt Romney in the state in 2008. And just things that were just not conceivable.
Right.
And so we said, let's quit complaining about the Vandy poll and let's just start our own. And we hired a reputable pollster who does this for a living, who really understands the process. And we said, you know what? People don't trust polls, as you don't trust polls, right? You've complained about them because they're inaccurate so much of the time. But what we're going to do is remind people, first, it's a snapshot in time. When I go through these results, especially like the governor's race and stuff, things are going to change. There's almost a year between now and the election, right? This is if the election were today, this is where people stand. Number one. Number two, we're going to disclose everything. Everything I see, you see. You can literally delve into every single question, every detail of every question, how Republicans, Democrats, Independents, East, Middle, West Tennessee, all of that information is provided. And you can quibble with the things we ask and how we ask them, but you're never going to question, here's how we did it, because we're going to disclose all of that information.
What was the specific question that you asked? Can I get the,
it's
right?
Fully
it's right
transparent. 100%.
Well, and two, one thing I like, and I'll let you get into some of these specific questions. One of my major beefs are when pollsters align themselves with media outlets.
Yep.
because oftentimes the media outlets, they're looking for a headline the next day. And I feel like we're already kind of souring the milk if our goal is to create news.
Yep.
And when ABC has a poll with, and I understand that you can tell me that the methodology is good, but they're looking for a headline, and then that encourages potentially letting your own political ideology creep into how you do the poll.
Well, not only that, but we were frustrated with political polls because they would only ask the things that they wanted people to focus on. And so nobody asked about things like housing and property taxes and healthcare and those issues in traditional political polling because it's not sexy, right? It doesn't get headlines, but it matters. And we found that the media will actually talk about these things. You'll have us on to get into the weeds on some of this stuff that matters to Tennesseans.
All right, so here's the lead. You asked a question of Democrats specifically about socialism in the state of Tennessee. So you tell me about the question asked and tell me about the results.
We actually we explained what capitalism is and what socialism is and asked all voters which one is closest to your view and how much do you support each one. Surprisingly, a majority of Democrats embrace socialism.
In Tennessee.
And favor socialism. These are just, the whole poll is just Tennesseans. Tennessee Democrats, which is surprising to me. It isn't nationally because we've seen that trend nationally. We've got Mamdani getting elected last night as mayor of New York, literally a Democrat socialist now, mayor of our city or nation's largest city. So that's not surprising, the embrace of AOC and people like that. But these are Tennessee Democrats. These are people who elected Phil Bredesen not too long ago, who was a very moderate, middle-of-the-road Democratic mayor. Historically, Democrats have been very moderate here. So this one was a shocking one to me. It's not a big deal in the grand scheme of things. It's not going to have a huge impact on the control of our state in the short run because the majority of overall voters still support capitalism over socialism. Republicans overwhelmingly so, not surprisingly. Yet it is going to probably influence how Democrats run and what type of Democrats get nominated in primaries in some of these races. I have been thinking and telling my team and others as we watch these trends, as more and more people move out of Nashville into the suburbs, into the collar counties of Nashville, some of those areas are turning purple that have been in the state legislature. Your state senator or representative is a Republican. They're at risk if a moderate Democrat, Phil Bredesen type, comes in and runs against them in the general election because they're becoming more marginal districts. But if Democrats are going to embrace socialism and they're going to go with the most extreme candidate to run against those sitting legislators, that's just not going to happen.
Right.
And so in a way, it's almost like Democrats are shooting themselves in the foot here. They have an option to go after some of these legislative seats because of the demographic shifts in the state, yet they're going to go with the most extreme AOC, Mamdani types rather than the more middle-of-the-road person.
You asked about the approval or disapproval of the governor's job performance. What were the results?
Yeah, governor has strong support going into his last year in office. 54% of voters support him. That's pretty consistent.
That's all voters.
Across the board. Sure. Obviously, he's much higher among Republicans. Democrats hate him. Not surprising. Sure. He's pretty in line with President Trump. President Trump's got 57% support, 41% opposition. So they're both kind of neck and neck there in the state. And we ask that every other time. So you can see where the governor is every 6 months and where the legislature's support in opposition is every 6 months. So you can see those trends over time, how people feel about them.
So Governor Bill Lee, very popular, but you're looking forward to 2026 and the governor's race that's kind of forming. Right now we have three major announced candidates, Senator Marsha Blackburn, Congressman John Rose, and Representative Monty Fritz. You asked the question. What was the answer?
So this is the second time we've polled this. We were the first in the state to poll this race in August. Senator Blackburn started out with a 52-point lead over Congressman Rose. This was before Representative Fritz got into the race. And that hasn't really changed that much. She still got 58% of the vote as it stands right now. Rose has 9%. Fritz has 5%. Still 28% of Republicans are undecided. But again, this is a snapshot in time, right? Congressman Rose is going to spend a boatload of money to get his message and his campaign platform out. I think he will certainly close that gap some. Those undecided voters are going to move one way or the other between now and Election Day next August. There's still plenty of time. But at the end of the day, I think, as it stands right now, certainly Senator Blackburn has a significant lead in terms of name ID and, political ground game across the state that puts her at a significant advantage at this stage.
And it's not, and I'm not shutting the door on anything. And as you noted, I mean, it's a snapshot. Anything can happen. But, I mean, it's not as if we're in the middle of 2025 and we got a year to wait or whatnot. I mean, we're closing the books on 2025. Once we get to next week, it might as well be 2026 politically speaking. This as well as I do. So, I mean, and now it's kind of on. So if you're going to see movement, you would expect that you're going to start seeing that certainly by January, February, movement in terms of money being spent, name ID getting out there. And if you see any move, and you'll continue polling.
Yeah, we will
obviously
continue to poll this. We poll quarterly, so there'll probably be at least 2 more before the primary election.
In the last 3 minutes, we talked too long on the front end, and there's so many great ways to go with this. What did it surprise you the number of people that answered the question about political violence answered it in the way that they did?
That it was so high. 90% of voters across the political spectrum think that this is a problem really in the wake of the Charlie Kirk assassination. What maybe that didn't necessarily surprise me. I hope people think it's a big problem.
You didn't specify one political party versus another.
We just straight up said, do you think political violence is a problem? What was sad and concerning was that 2/3 of Tennesseans think it's only going to get worse before it gets better. What was more across the board is who's to blame. So 38% of Tennesseans blame both the left and right equally. 32% blame the left, while just 18% blame the right. So that's a little bit more scattered across political perspectives. But it was also interesting. We asked, well, does this make you concerned about speaking your political mind and saying what you believe? That's literally the state is split on that. Half think, yes, I'm concerned about speaking out, and half think that, no, I'm afraid to. And so that's, I think there needs to be a lot of healing in this nation when it comes to being able to speak your mind without resorting to violence or fearing violence upon you as a result. I
love questions like this, Justin. Do you have a favorable or unfavorable opinion of big business? I love this question. And I'm a little bit surprised at how people answered it. 54% said that they have a favorable opinion of it. And the reason I love that question is because our friends on the left have used the phraseology big business as a negative for a long time. If you're a big company, a big corporation, that means you're automatically evil and greedy and mean-spirited. So I'm a little bit surprised that over a majority of the respondents said, no, big business is fine.
Yeah, and this was surprising because even among Republicans in this sort of populist wave that we're in, there's sort of a resentment to big business and just big institutions
pharma,
of anything.
Right.
And so that a majority said they still support big business was impressive. Even more interesting was that while not a majority, more Democrats support big business than oppose it, which also it's a reminder, especially when you get into the details of polling, that human beings are complex creatures and can hold diametrically opposing views sometimes. They can support socialism while still being okay with big business. And so who knows?
My favorite, I played this quote yesterday. It was 5 seconds. I said, New York City elections in 5 seconds. And it was a reporter saying, who'd you vote for? And the girl said, I voted for Mom Donnie. And do you agree with socialism? No. Then what are you doing? Finally, before we go, Boring Company, the tunnel.
Yeah.
You polled this?
Yep, the Music City Tunnel, or Music City Loop, I think they're calling it, this tunnel that Elon Musk Boring Company is going to do from downtown to the airport. Surprisingly, I guess not surprisingly, I think he's still kind of popular given what he did with Doge. 56% of Tennesseans support it, 29% oppose it. The only real group that opposes it is Democrats, and you could probably narrow that into like Democrats in Nashville that don't like Trump or don't like Elon Musk who are opposed to this. On the flip side, people aren't cool with driverless cars. You started to see in Nashville this Waymo Lyft partnership where they're actually driving around now. They don't have passengers. They're testing and kind of mapping the roads and stuff. But people, 36% actually support that. 59% oppose it, which is interesting because the long-term plan of the tunnel is to actually use driverless Teslas.
Right. Originally, they'll be driven by human beings, but then they'll transition, right?
Yeah, and I guess this isn't, when you look back, I actually read an article one time about this dangerous new contraption coming out in the late 1800s. It's people were going to die taking this mode of transportation, and it was the bicycle. And so anytime you have something new that people aren't familiar with, you're going to have opposition to like this.
I like to tell the story that you know who was against the automobile? Big Horse and Buggy. Big Horse and Buggy hated the automobile.
And Big Typewriter against the computer, right?
That's exactly right. Listen, I feel like we're just scratching the surface. How can folks find out more about the poll and more about the Beacon Center?
So beaconpoll.com is the best place to go. You can see the poll results every quarter when we release them. You can go from there to our Beacon website in order to sign up for updates about what we're doing, ways to get involved, and to get poll results as they come out every quarter.
Justin, this has been a lot of fun. Let's do it again.
Thanks, Matt. I appreciate you.
There's Justin Owen with the Beacon Center. We'll be back in a moment. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
5 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Got any travel plans? Well, flight cancellations will soon be in store for many Americans, citing air traffic controller stress and fatigue. 5 weeks into the government shutdown, the Trump administration says starting Friday, it's going to force a 10% reduction in flights in 40 high-traffic markets, including Nashville. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says further cutbacks of flights may be necessary.
What we're finding is that our air traffic controllers, because of the financial pressures at home, are taking side jobs. They need to put food on the table, gas in the car, pay their bills.
And Duffy's also offered air traffic controllers of the age of retirement a 20% upfront cash bonus to stay on. Right now in Kentucky, Governor Andy Beshear from the scene of yesterday's UPS cargo plane crash.
And tough news of the day, our fatality count is now up to 11. I expect it to reach 12 possibly by the end of the day.
They're moving from rescue to recovery. Alex Perez says NTSB investigators are on the scene working to uncover what caused the crash.
Authorities say they have recovered the black box, the voice recorder, and the data recorder. They say it suffered some heat around it, but they reminded us it's built to withstand extreme conditions. They're sending that black box now to D.C., where they say it will be analyzed in their laboratories.
Right now in Middle Tennessee, Metro Nashville police say a man's in custody after he fired shots from a vehicle. Investigators say he was first spotted carrying the rifle inside Plaza Mariachi on Nolensville Pike. He then left in a red Nissan Sentra, firing shots as he went down the road. Officers tracked him down about 14 miles away on Dodson Chapel Road in Hermitage. Several schools were on soft lockdown as a precaution, but police said there is no ongoing threat. And in the case against former FBI Director James Comey, Justice Department officials ordered by a judge this morning to hand over all grand jury materials related to the case by tomorrow afternoon. Here's ABC's Catherine Folders.
A magistrate judge. This is not the judge who would ultimately oversee a trial if it goes to trial, but the judge sharply questions DOJ's handling of this indictment, calling prosecutors' conduct highly unusual. The judge said that he believed it represented a rushed effort to indict Comey while potentially violating his constitutional rights here.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. You're not getting anywhere fast around downtown. You've got complete stop-and-go traffic northbound 65 to the South Loop, eastbound 440 over to 24, eastbound 24 from 440, and then eastbound South Loop to 65, northbound North Loop up to the Northern Split. We got crashes that are making things worse. 40 westbound after Church Street, 65 northbound there at 2465. That's the reason for the northbound at North Loop backup. 440 eastbound near the Woodlawn Drive overpass in Green Hills. And now a crash at Lebanon Pike and Donaldson Pike. I'm Ken Weaver.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Open phone lines right now. You want to get in here, we'll jump on those phone calls. 615-737-9986 if you'd like to be a part of the show. It is 7 minutes after 5 o'clock. My name is Matt Murphy, and this is the Matt Murphy Radio Show. I think I've been accused of saying that it was Monday early on in the show. If that was the case, I apologize. I humbly beg of your forgiveness. I'm aware that it is Wednesday, November 5. It is episode 918 of our gatherings together on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Many of those on the front end happen between noon and 3. And now we host a little gathering from 3 until 7 that we call the Matt Murphy Show. It's also time for our man Cameron Smith. He writes for the Tennessean, and oftentimes you hear his voice on these radio airwaves. You often can hear him on podcast as well as we host together All the Best Words with Matt Murphy and Cameron Smith. Hey, Cameron.
Hey, buddy.
Why are you smiling at me?
Because I'm
all over the place.
I'm literally the only. It's funny when I sit down and you're like, I think I may have hated the last thing you wrote. What was it? And I'm like, that's how you know we're friends. Because I'm like, it was about blowing up people in the Gulf of America.
Oh, yeah, I did hate that one. Not
you
so much.
You did not. You agreed with that one.
Well, kind of. But you always say things that annoy me.
That's the whole point. I mean,
I did. The last thing that Cameron heard before we came on air was, I was like, I think I hated the last thing you wrote on Tennessee. And what was it? I think I hated it.
And I said blowing up people.
And I went, oh, yeah. Nah, not so much.
Yeah.
I don't guess so.
That's literally the point of all of the stuff we do, is to have these discussions, to think through this stuff. I mean, it's fun, man.
Just think for yourselves, folks.
Yeah,
Just
amen.
Think for yourselves. It's you know one of the reasons that I don't get into all of this influencer crap, right? And I'm not suggesting that these people aren't in some way important. A lot of them have great ideas. A lot of them have great thoughts about politics or whatever. But whether it's Ben Shapiro or Matt Walsh at the Daily Wire, or whether it's Tucker Carlson or even Charlie Kirk, for all the good that Charlie Kirk did, and I don't deny all of the good that he did, I'm not going to get into the subtlety of, oh, was he wrong? Oh, was he right? This, that, or the other thing, because he is who he is. Enjoy him, but don't hero worship any of these people.
Anyone.
Or me, or you, or Ken, or anybody.
It's weird, right?
Yes.
And so that's what I sometimes people will send me an email and say,
not Donald Trump. You can hero worship him. But other than
that's
that,
different.
That's much different.
Well, but that to me is just, sometimes when people send me emails, I'm like, I just love your thoughts and you're so right. I'm like, whoa.
Calm down.
My wife doesn't feel that way. So it's okay for you to have
you're telling me.
Agree with me sometimes and not agree with me other times. That's normal human interaction. So to find that influencer or voice that you will adhere to always means you're not thinking.
Right. And it is fascinating to me how we've gotten to a place, and I get it all the time, brother, where, hey, Matt, I agree with you on that. That's awesome. Hey, Matt, I agree with you with that. That's awesome. Hey, Matt, you're awesome. You said a thing that I agree with. And then 2 months later, hey, Matt, you said one thing I disagree with. You're awful. You're evil. I hate you. I'm never listening to you again. You're horrible. You should die.
Yeah.
It's like, what? What? It's the 100%ers, man, and they're on both sides.
Yeah.
They're all over the joint. While I have Ken Weaver's attention, and I know that I do because I saw him looking over Jackson Williams' shoulder. Ken, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
And I meant to pose it at the beginning of the show, and I forgot.
Okay.
This UPS deal.
Yes, sir.
This plane crash. 9 dead? Is that right?
Now it's up to 12.
Oh, man. And so 3 on the plane and the rest on the ground, I guess?
I have not seen that.
Okay.
But that sounds right.
I think I heard yesterday that there were 3 on the plane. And Governor Andy Beshear of Kentucky has declared a state of emergency.
Yes.
Is there anything in the reporting that you've seen as to why?
Why he's declared a state of emergency?
Yes.
Well, only the reason he says he declared a state of emergency was to get more resources to the scene.
Okay. That makes sense. I mean, because I couldn't understand if there was anything that would naturally lead us to a current state of emergency, because everything that's happened is in the past. And I guess, sadly, the way that they do these things, you have to have a declaration in order to open up, like, probably certain avenues of federal resources and other things. That would make sense. That would make some sense. Okay, that was the question I had, because I heard you say that earlier today. I was I was a little confused. 2213 wants you to know, Jackson, that you would be an excellent spokesperson for any given company that you chose to put your mind to. And they've been saying this since 3:12 this afternoon. And I'm just going to read. Can I just read this to you, Jackson? This is good stuff. Well, one, I didn't see this when he first wrote it, but someone wants you to know that they felt like you jinxed the Tennessee Volunteers.
He would.
Last weekend. And I'm quoting him now. Old Truffle Butter jinxed us again. Go Vols. He needs to go pick another team to pull for.
Ooh.
I'm just the messenger, Jackson. I'm just reading them.
People can have wrong opinions. You say Cameron does all the time.
It's true. He does. And then today, and that was on the 2nd. So that was over the weekend on a Sunday morning. 2213 said, I'm going to go ahead and get a jump start on the week by texting Matt and Jackson and Ken and remind y'all that I'm a Vols fan and I don't like you anymore. Anyway, today he said, spokesperson extraordinaire, Mr. Truffle Butter himself. He delivered that message at 3:12. And at 3:15, he said, spokesperson extraordinaire, Mr. Truffle Butter himself. He delivered the same message at 3:18, at 3:21, at 3:32, at 3:47. He said, I think he could make a great Truffle Butter commercial. At 3:48, at 3:52, and at 4 o'clock, at 4:14, and at 4:37. So I'm a little concerned that 2213 is having a mental episode, or perhaps B, he has fallen asleep and his hip or his hand has hit the send button and it just keeps resending. Any response to 2213?
I appreciate the confidence.
I have confidence in you too. Now, what do you have against bombing? Why do you love drug runners? Did you get that email?
I did.
That you love drug runners?
Oh man, I got folks that were like, thank you so much for explaining this. This doesn't set right with me. And I'm like, okay. And then I had where were you when Obama was president? To which I said, I still love the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
What is the problem?
Mm-hmm.
And what was really dark humor after I wrote that column and it was released over at the Tennessean, the DOD, I guess it was Hegseth, posted videos of them arresting drug dealers in submarines, like literally jumping on the submarine. It was really cool to watch, but they didn't blow them up. And it just blew my mind how you decided these particular drug runners get arrested and don't die when the other ones get the blow up treatment. I'm just confused. Within like days of each other.
Well, for me, and you and I talked about this last week before you wrote the article, and I pick on you about the article, of course. Y'all can go read the article for yourself. You might have to go behind a paywall. I'll give you my password. Don't worry about it. So, but I just want some explaining.
Yeah, I agree.
I just want it explained to me that why we're putting these people in a certain bucket that other people would not go in.
Right.
Right.
who do the same thing.
Who would do the same thing, right? But if we have a specific group of people that we have designated as terrorists who are running drugs, and we believe that they're killing people based on the drug running, all right, how are they in this bucket and these folks aren't in this bucket? How are they in the Department of Defense bucket versus criminal offense bucket? Coast Guard over here, military operation over here. I'm just trying to understand what your legal team, because the Trump administration says, well, our legal team has created this distinction. Just show me the distinction. That's all.
The problem, I just can't square the circle, is you're literally the same guy, Pete Hegseth, is posting, we arrested these drug runners. We did the cool thing where we jumped on the submarine and pulled them out, right? It was neat. I watched it. It was great. These guys who are also drug runners, we executed.
So why didn't we kill the submarine people, right?
That's kind of my question.
Is your question.
Or why didn't we arrest the ones we killed, right? Like, these seem to be same, but some died and some are prosecuted. And that's just confusing for me, and I think it's kind of strange.
You know, I don't know that there's any legs to the. I mean, there should be, because constitutional questions are important.
Mm-hmm.
But man, when you watch a couple of drug runners go boom,
yeah. I mean,
there's just not a lot of compassion.
I just don't want to watch the Constitution go boom too.
That's fair.
I don't care. The drug dealers, no sympathy for those guys. But the truth is, I also just don't trust the government, right? Like, you're telling me that the people you're executing, super deserved it. But how we in America decide those things is we prosecute them, and then if we determine they've committed an offense that for which death is the penalty, then we do that.
Jason wants you to know that he doesn't worship you for your opinion. He does worship you for your body, and he wants to know if that's okay.
Yes, as I told you off there, I regularly get the opinion that my body's made for sin. I don't know why people say that to me. Big if true.
Armchair PD says the submarine was worth capturing, the boat wasn't. Maybe.
All I know is that some of those boats appear to have 4 very large horsepower motors, and they seem like nice boats.
I mean, sure. You know, once again, the Constitution matters.
Mm-hmm.
And that leads me to topic number 2. There were Supreme Court arguments today on the issue of tariffs.
Mm-hmm.
The Trump administration is relying on a 1970s era law that was put into place by Congress that gives the president and the executive branch authorization to make certain emergency changes in a time of specific and direct need.
Yep.
The Trump administration is relying on that, and it did not feel like the Supreme Court was swayed by their arguments.
It did not go well. It did not go well. And the question, and I'm paraphrasing it, and I'll pull it up later, but there was a question posed to the Solicitor General saying, well, what happens if basically Democrats come in and propose a climate emergency and use that as a justification to change international, basically impose tariffs for their purposes?
Without approval of Congress.
Right. Would that be allowed? And obviously he had to say yes. Initially, I think the response was that this administration would say that's a hoax. But that's not the point, right? The point is a president, AOC, however she gets in office. I know that's creepy and makes your skin crawl, but she says it's a climate emergency and we are going to have
and I'm the boss
100% tariffs on any country that uses fossil fuels. Why not? Why not? And the answer is, well, she could. And
under the same premise.
And I think that's why these tariffs are going to get struck down.
So I told you that I don't know how this happens, but my intuition tells me that the Supreme Court, if they decide against the Trump administration, will probably remand the particulars back to the lower courts.
Yes.
And I suggest to you that they will figure out a way, by hook or by crook, to split the baby and not force repayment on all of it. Maybe on some of it, but not all of it. Because if you've been following the tariffs case, the reason that this is a pretty big deal, it's not so big in as much as the president has been making trade deals based on tariffs, no tariffs, whatever. Those trade deals, tell me if I'm wrong, Cameron, but I think those trade deals stay in place. So if you accomplish the trade deal, that's all well and good.
Mm-hmm.
But what would complicate matters is if the businesses that have been impacted by the trade tariffs, that they have to pay more, if they have to be repaid. And that's what, it's a lot of money. It's like $9 billion, something like that. Or,
yeah, I mean, it is not an insignificant.
It's not insignificant.
Yeah.
If the decision is made next year, I'll say this, two things. One, I think the administration should be forecasting how they're going to shift foreign policy in their trade negotiations based on an inability for Donald Trump to unilaterally move tariffs around. Because I do not believe, whether you like it or not, the Supreme Court is there to protect, first and foremost, not Donald Trump, but the Constitution of the United States of America and the separation of powers.
Right.
And their major question is whether or not, it's really not even a matter of the Trump administration. You could even, in a way, you could applaud the Trump administration for taking advantage of something that they feel like that the Congress has done, which is cede their responsibility to the executive branch.
Yeah, and this is, Trump is doing what almost every president has done
Just a little on steroids. Right.
Exactly. I mean, he's saying, I think I have the authority to do this. You have to tell me that I don't.
And you gave it to me back in the 70s.
Right.
Thanks.
And this is a problem that's a perennial problem with Congress is they actually prefer this. Like, I'll be honest, members of Congress, I've worked in the House and the Senate, they like it when they can tell people that vote for them, hey, that's the administration. It's not us, right? I wish I could do something, but that's regulation. That's the administration. They like ceding the power to the executive branch because then they don't have to take responsibility. It's why I helped write the REINS Act and things that would put that responsibility back on them and say, you got to vote on these regs. It's your authority. And what's happened is Trump's like, no, it's mine. It's fine. And
the same people that are attempting to, and look, I don't get the heartburn over Trump using tariffs legally in the way that he's using tariffs in order to negotiate trade deals. You and I have argued about that over time. But I would say this, that if we are going to celebrate the Supreme Court reversing the Chevron decision and demanding that Congress be more specific in the laws that they pass and not give deference to the executive branch in the way that we have for so long, which we all applauded.
Yes.
I mean, I thought constitutionalists universally said, good.
Way to go, guys.
Way to go. We're making the Congress work again. Then I don't see how you can't look at this and say, man, I think this same Supreme Court that overturned the Chevron decision is going to say, nah, Congress has to do the work here, and the executive branch is required to go to the Congress and force the Congress to do the work.
Yep. And I think that's where we're headed. And I get it. There's the Ron Swanson governance, which is, I've got a license that says I can do what I want. It's easier. And I understand, folks, when we like a lot of Trump's policies, we want to make it as easy as possible for Trump to do things we like. The problem is if you set the table in a way that now the next president has carte blanche to do things we don't, we're going to hate it. And so we need to be, reasonable here on separation of powers. And I think the courts, that's what they're for.
I love our listeners so much. I'm going to share some of what they're saying on the super text line, which is very, very funny. Sally has a good reason why Donald Trump did not blow up the submarine, and it involves the Ukrainians. 615-737-9986. Stephen, I'm going to get to your comment about also Sally has taught me how to remember how to say Mom Donnie's name. And it's Mom, M-O-N-M-O-M, Donnie. Like the mom of Donnie. Mom Donnie. Thank you, Sally. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy for Savory Spice. Savory Spice has big news, and I can't tell you about it yet. But there is big news coming with Holly and David and the rest of the crew at Savory Spice at the beginning of the year. And it's a good thing, and I'll get to tell you about that coming up at the beginning of the year. But right now, I want to tell you about all of the delicious fall flavors that they have available at Savory Spice. First and foremost, if you have somebody that loves cooking in your life, someone that loves getting around the kitchen, go in and see some of the incredible gift-giving opportunities that there are at Savory Spice. Are we in sparkle syrup season yet? Holly, if you're listening, tell me if we're in sparkle syrup season. Y'all call Holly at Savory Spice and tell her Matt Murphy's confused about whether sparkle syrup is back in stock. This is awesome, right? The kids love this. Around Thanksgiving and Christmas, they have syrup that has sparkles in it. And, yeah, I mean, obviously you can eat it. It's syrup, after all, so you put that on pancakes or waffles or whatever. It is delicious, and it always sells out at Savory Spice. Always sells out well before the holiday season, so I need to find out if it's in so we can cut some back for Murphy, and then you can have yours. Besides that, you've got cinnamon, you've got pumpkin spice, you've got nutmeg, you've got all of the flavors of fall right there at Savory Spice. They would love for you to come in and restock before you get into the baking season or the cooking season of Thanksgiving and Christmas. Savory Spice is located in Franklin. They're simply the best when it comes to spice and seasoning and salts and etc. Savory Spice, right down from the square, just beside Gray's Pharmacy. Go by and see them today. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to the one and only Savory Spice. It was legendary coach Lou Holtz, and I will not do a Lou Holtz impersonation, although I could, who once said, before people spend money, they ask 3 questions. Can I trust you? Are you committed to excellence? And do you care about me? Well, friends, Eurofix has an emphatic yes on each of those questions. You can trust them. Yes, they're committed to excellence. And yes, they care about you. Since 1999, owner Aaron Stokes has made those commitments to his family, his friends, his neighbors, his community, and all across Middle Tennessee. You see it. Aaron moved into a shop in a barn behind his house so he could stay close to his family while building his dream business. The best service on European vehicles at below dealer pricing. Flash forward to today, the barn's long gone. Eurofix is thriving 26 years later with locations in Nashville, Franklin, Belmead, Murfreesboro, and Mount Juliet, with more to come. All work performed comes with a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty. There's a rental car available with every appointment. Can you trust them? Do they care? Are they committed to excellence? Yes, yes, and yes. Call and book today. MyEurofix.com. That's MyEurofix.com or 844-EUROFIX.
.30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Right now in Nashville, a man is in custody after firing a rifle from a car in South Nashville. This man telling Channel 4 he was just sitting on his porch when the suspect drove by holding the gun outside the window.
He was like pointing it at the air. I didn't quite get scared until he went down this way here and past the other speed bump. And that's when he started shooting out more 3 to 4 gun rounds.
Suspect was first seen with the rifle in a store at Plaza Mariachi, seemingly looking for someone, going aisle to aisle. Then he left in that red Nissan Sentra, made it to Hermitage before police spiked his tires, and he crashed into some trees. No one was hurt. Still waiting for police to release his name and a motive. And the death toll has now climbed to 12 in the UPS cargo plane crash in Louisville. Alex Perez says NTSB is on the ground there working to uncover what caused the crash.
Authorities say they have recovered the black box, the voice recorder, and the data recorder. They say it suffered some heat around it, but they reminded us it's built to withstand extreme conditions. They're sending that black box now to D.C., where they say it will be analyzed in their laboratories.
Flight cancellations will soon be in store for many Americans as a result of the government shutdown. ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy has the latest.
5 weeks into the shutdown without pay, the Transportation Secretary says many air traffic controllers are taking side jobs.
They need to put food on the table, gas in the car, pay their bills.
Sean Duffy says starting Friday, the government will order a 10% reduction in flights in 40 high-traffic cities.
Our sole role is to make sure that we keep this airspace as safe as possible.
Duffy acknowledges the cancellation of thousands of flights per day will lead to frustration. He warns further cutbacks may prove necessary if the shutdown continues. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. West End, stalled vehicle left shoulder block 440 westbound near exit 1. Woodbine, stalled vehicle left shoulder block 24 westbound at I-440. Donaldson, a crash. Lebanon Pike at Donaldson Pike. Capitol View, a crash 40 westbound after Church Street. North Loop, a crash left shoulder block 65 northbound. They're at exit 86AB. B&A, stalled vehicle left shoulder block 40 eastbound near Donaldson Pike. Green Hills, an accident on the right shoulder 440 eastbound near the Woodlawn Drive overpass. Madison, an injury crash 65 northbound before Old Hickory Boulevard. I'm Ken Weaver.
You know what just happened in the studio, Jackson? You know what just happened? This is a nice little instructional lesson for you, young man. I had a little belch, a little burp, and we're off air, and I burped, and Cameron was over there on his. I don't know what he's doing over there. He's writing some anti-Trump article or something, and I said, "Excuse me." I said, "Excuse me" to Cameron.
I always say, "Excuse me."
It's a lie. It's a lie from the pit of hell. You just you burped in here earlier today, and you just walked out.
That did not happen.
And by the way, Ken.
Yes, sir.
Last week, Jackson burped in a production room and blew it at me. And that is just wrong.
I did not
You
do that.
did too.
I did not.
You did. You went burps.
No, I didn't.
You did too, like we're in a frat house.
I did not. You probably said something ugly. I don't remember doing that, though.
So, see how quickly we went from, I did not do, you probably said something nasty and deserved it. You know what? 20 more seconds, I'll get him to, yeah, I did it, and I'll do it again. I'm just trying to help you out, Jackson. Help out your manners.
I didn't do it.
Uh-huh. What were we going to talk about? Oh, yeah, we're going to Stephen on line one. Hey, Stephen. How are you? I got Nincompoops coming up in just a second, Stephen, so we got to go quick. But you've been holding for so long, I feel bad.
Yeah, I just heard you talking about Zoran earlier, Zoran Mandami, or whatever his name is. I hope Jackson did. I hope that wasn't a baloney burp. Oh my God.
Oh man. Yeah, and you know what it was? I think it was a tater chip burp. Ugh.
Ugh.
Which
yeah,
is,
those baloney burps are bad.
Yeah, they are
No,
pretty
just
bad.
Yeah, just real quick. This guy's already starting off. He already lunged out at Holman, so we already know what side he's on. I would think the most important job as a mayor is protecting the people of your city, among other things. But that would kind of be my top priority. So I think what we're going to see in New York City is because he's already mentioned something about, or I heard somebody mention something about he's going to be defunding the police or getting rid of law enforcement, or he's going to be using the race card against them on a lot of issues or whatever, which is kind of like what we've been seeing throughout. I just don't think that's going to stick, man. A lot of people are talking about there's going to be U-Hauls heading down 95 going to Florida and this and that and different things, but it seems like New York is like the mixing pot of like every culture in the world, like is in New York. I think it's the most diverse city in the whole entire world. It has to be by far. And I would say more than half of those people come from cultures that left and fled socialism. So, I don't know how, I think he's using the Bernie Sanders playbook by everything's free here. We're going to have free housing. We're going to have, and it's all a pipe dream. But I know one thing's for sure. I don't know how long he's going to last because Trump's not playing around when he's talking about getting the illegals out of our cities. ICE is still in New York City, and they're going to stay, and they're going to be there. And he might just get indicted himself. He might get charged and get put in jail or prison.
Wait, who might? Who might?
Yeah, if he starts fighting against this, he can end up in a bad spot. So we just have to see how it plays out.
Wait, I missed it. Who are you talking about? Is going to be in a bad spot?
Mandami.
Oh, I see. I mean, he's in a pretty good place today. I mean, he's the mayor-elect.
Yeah.
I just, and thank you, Stephen, for the call. Cameron and I can dissect. I'm curious, despite the fact that we did a podcast episode of All the Best Words today, and your word, can I give him a little?
Yeah, sure.
Socialist. You went socialist. So we had a little conversation about this, but I don't know that I asked you the question today, how you think all of this is going to work out. Maybe we do that after Nincompoops.
I like it.
I'm curious about how you think all of that's going to work. It feels like a Petri dish. Yeah. That's what it feels like. But we'll get Cameron's word on it in a moment. Right now, it's time for Nincompoops in the News.
Nincompoops in the News.
We do it every day at this time. On these Wednesdays, we have 4 different selections for you. Cameron Smith, Matt Murphy, Jackson Williams, and our intrepid news reporter, Ken Weaver. We gather a headline or two together. We deliver them for you, and you get to vote on who you believe is the nincompoop of the day. Will it be Weaver? Will it be Williams? Will it be Smith? Will it be Murphy? It's yours to decide. I know who gets to go first. Well, actually, I don't. It's not me. It's either you or Jackson, Ken. I think it's Ken, Jackson. I think
That's fair.
Ken won yesterday.
I'll
with
go
that,
second.
I mean, remember that big time story that Ken delivered yesterday? It was
the trotter.
Yeah, it was the
a cop on a horse.
And
the cop's last name is Trotter.
Yeah. So it was Officer Trotter, and he was on a horse.
Yeah.
And the guy thought he could outrun the horse.
Yeah. He told a guy. He said my horse is a drug sniffing horse.
And the
guy
guy
took off. Right.
Oh my God! Get out of here. Well, Weaver, the floor is yours.
Rip-roaring drunk woman arrested after biting husband and then found naked in her front yard.
Mm-hmm.
Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd said 24-year-old Leilani Sullivan was taken into custody after her husband called 911.
Leilani.
Sheriff described Sullivan as having gotten, quote, rip-roaring drunk, an intoxication level that led her to took off every bit of her clothes. According to the sheriff, deputies found Sullivan in the front yard of her home naked. She had been biting and slapping around her husband, sheriff said. The trouble continued during the arrest when Sullivan allegedly fought with a female deputy trying to get her dressed. She started fighting with the female deputy, Sheriff Judd stated. Sheriff concluded his remarks by posing a rhetorical question about the severity of the incident. How much do you have to drink? Alcohol, that is. To rip off all your clothes, slap your husband around, bite him, and then lay down in the front yard naked.
I don't know.
Well, that's more of a pass out than a lay down.
I don't know. How much do you have to drink? Is that a rhetorical question? I don't know.
That's what the reporter said.
Oh, well, that's a lot. Jackson, I just feel like you're best equipped to answer this question. How much, Jackson, do you have to drink in order to what did she do? She ripped off all of her clothes?
It took off all of her clothes and laid right down.
That's 8 beers.
8 beers, Jackson says, Ken. Let the reporter know. There you go.
But there were other things she did, right, Ken? Let's calculate this.
Yeah, she slapped her husband around.
That's another 4.
Bit him.
So we're 12.
She bit him.
Oh, that's 2 more. That's 14.
And then that's when she laid down in the yard drunk.
Okay, so
add another probably 6 there, 20.
A woman drinking 20 beers is probably dead.
I was getting ready to say, man.
She's probably close to it.
Yeah, that feels like an accurate calculation on my part.
You know what? I think that woman's an alcoholic. And you know what else I think she is? Nincompoop.
Oh, yes.
Nincompoop.
It strikes me that I think Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd's come up in our nincompoop several times.
I feel that way, too. I feel like that name's familiar.
Over there?
Just people getting drunk and naked.
Must be in the water or in the alcohol, as they say. For me, I'm going out to California, the left side, the shaky coast. District 9 Supervisor Jackie Fielder in San Francisco, California, represents the Mission District. And Representative Jackie Fielder is calling for justice. She wants Governor Gavin Newsom and the state legislature to give the people the right to vote on autonomous vehicles such as Waymo and how they operate within their community, because I'm sad to report, friends, a Waymo vehicle has killed a cat. Kit Kat is a gray tabby. Pardon me. Kit Kat was a gray tabby and was the store mascot and pet of the owner of Randa's Market on 16th Street. The owner of the market told KTVU last week that on Monday, October 27th, the cat was struck and killed by a Waymo vehicle outside of the store. The cat was taken to a veterinarian but did not make it. Waymo responded to a request for comment from Fox News 2 out of San Fran. They reviewed the incident and said that the cat darted under one of the vehicles as the car was stopping to pick up a passenger. Waymo added that they would make a donation to a local animal rights organization in the cat's honor, but did not disclose what amount. Basically, Waymo was saying that it doesn't really matter if there was a driver of this vehicle or not a driver of this vehicle. The cat was going to go splat one way or the other. Fielder said reporting from other news outlets does not align with how Waymo, a Mountain View-based company, characterized the events of poor Kit Kat's demise. She retold the graphic account of what eyewitnesses told online news outlet Mission Local. Fielder said that she's been following this situation very closely. And she referenced that Waymo CEO, whose name I cannot pronounce. So when I cannot pronounce name, we call these people Great Googly Moogly. So CEO Great Googly Moogly said that this year's that was at the TechCrunch event around the time of Kit Kat's death. She essentially said society will accept deaths by robo-taxi if the technology offered greater safety to the general public. So the representative is suggesting that Waymo does not care if they kill cats as a result of their driverless vehicles. And Fielder wants the state of California to ban them
I thought you
because
said it was a Kit Kat.
the name of the cat is Kit Kat, Jackson.
Oh, I thought you were talking about a candy bar.
I know we're around dinner time and your tummy is probably a little rumbly, but this is a cat we're talking about, not a delicious dessert treat.
Love some Kit Kat.
Midday. What are you talking about?
I like them. I just do.
What are you talking? You know what I like to do? I like to get the big bar Kit Kats. You know what I'm talking about? The big ones.
Yeah.
And then buy 4 of those and unwrap them all and put them together. And I feel like I'm an itty bitty person eating a regular sized Kit Kat.
I like what you did there.
You see what I did?
Yep.
Like I'm a shorty. You know, like a little munchkin.
Yep.
Can I say munchkin, Jackson?
Yeah, that's just the Dunkin' donut holes.
Mm-hmm. You know what goes well with donut holes?
What?
Truffle butter. Cameron, you're a nincompoop, sir.
Yeah, finally. Here's one that was 13 hours old, so I'm feeling good. That y'all
Giddy up. Yeah, we probably
have already used it, but let's go. On Sunday, Kevin Barrios walked free from the Brevard County Jail Complex. He's free.
Uh-huh.
They've let him go.
Good.
Have you already used this? This is great.
Not to my knowledge.
He crossed the street to the Brevard County Sheriff's motor pool, picked up a rock from a flower bed, and hurled it at a police patrol car. He managed to smash the glass in the process. Not content with the damage, Barrios grabbed another rock and shattered the window of a patrol SUV.
Look at me. I'm Ernest T.
The rampage was caught on camera, but no one had stopped him yet. He was still free. It seems that Barrios could not stand that. Then he saw movement. A deputy had arrived at the jail to drop off another inmate. As soon as the car was unloaded, Barrios threw another rock right in plain sight of the deputy. The deputy immediately arrested him, brought him right back inside for rebooking. This time, he is now being held without bail.
Y'all remember Shawshank Redemption? I'm sure the 3 of us have seen it, and Jackson has not.
Right.
I want you to give me that movie.
Do you? It's a good one. Shawshank Redemption. What was the guy's name?
Andy Dufresne.
Well, and no, this guy that you're talking about,
Barrios.
Barrios is like is like Brooks, institutionalized.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Oh, poor Morgan Freeman. Remember Red? He found himself looking for places to break parole.
He was free and on the way out did $3,700 worth of damage.
Yeah, but man, when you see a rock and you see a glass, I mean, what do you do with that? I mean, come on.
Well, especially when you want one of them uniforms.
I want one of them uniforms.
Freedom. And I'm back.
Don't you throw that rock, Ernest T. Don't you do it.
It's great.
Jackson, you got a winner there, buddy?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You know how Jay says $140 in a crayon, you can sue anybody?
I do.
Somebody tried. Woman called Karen at New Jersey amusement park. Not enough to sue. Court rules. An appeals court has upheld the dismissal of a lawsuit filed by a New Jersey woman who claims she was ridiculed and labeled a Karen by children at the I Play America in Freehold, New Jersey, and that workers did nothing to stop the harassment. The 55-year-old Edison woman claimed in court papers she was attending a birthday party with her 2 minor children on October 9th, 2022, when an employee incorrectly told her she did not meet the minimum height requirement for the IP IPA Speedway go-kart ride. The woman told the worker and his supervisor that she had previously been given access to the ride several times without issue. While the employee and a manager were speaking with the plaintiff, children waiting in line behind her became upset and began to shout at her because of the delay, calling her a white B-word and Karen, according to the lawsuit filed June 3rd, 2024 in Middlesex County Superior Court. The woman was terribly embarrassed and humiliated by these events and felt discriminated against because she was wrongfully denied access to the IPA Speedway go-kart ride, the lawsuit said. After being denied access, the woman had to go back through the line past the children who were yelling at her, according to the suit. This caused her to feel terribly embarrassed and humiliated, court documents state. According to court documents, the mother's discomfort was magnified because her 2 minor children were present for the entire event. The woman's lawsuit alleged iPlay America was negligent in not allowing her on the ride and that the business breached its duty of care by not preventing other guests from yelling at her. A trial court dismissed the woman's lawsuit on October 11th, 2024, and then a decision Friday, October 31st, 2025, a state appellate court upheld the dismissal. We are unpersuaded by plaintiff's arguments and determined the trial court did not err in its findings, the appeals court wrote in its 11-page decision. The appeals court stated it does not condone the children's derogatory comments. However, iPlay America's responsibility to provide a safe environment does not extend to protecting patrons from derogatory or pejorative comments.
Pejorative.
That's what I said.
Pejorative.
Yeah. Okay.
Preventing certain communications between patrons is not feasible.
Hey, Jackson.
Yes.
Were her kids little shorties too?
I'm assuming they didn't.
The kids were little shorties too. You think?
So she wasn't tall enough to get on the ride?
She was not.
I guess not. She must be short.
Man, that's what.
Because this isn't like a big time
she's a little munchkin.
roller coaster.
She's a little munchkin.
She's a little lady.
She's a little bitty lady. She wanted to get on that ride. Don't call her Karen.
She's little Karen.
Hey, easy, Ken. She'll sue you. You better watch out.
This just made me laugh. As I kept reading, I kept laughing harder.
I mean, how short is Karen?
Probably about my height.
Oh,
no, Ken, you could ride the IPA go-kart ride. IPA Speedway go-kart ride.
Does it give the details?
I can look it up, Ken.
Man, oh, man. I used to, one of my favorite things to do was to watch the people that would go around Six Flags and see if they were tall enough to ride the ride.
To ride the rides.
No, man, you got to go to the kiddie park. You can't ride the Superman ride. You slip right out. You slip right out of that thing.
Oh, no.
What?
The minimum height is 36 inches.
Man.
3 feet?
What?
She was less than 3 feet tall?
I think she was.
She was like a legit midget, you think?
Ken is very surprised.
That's teeny-tiny.
She might have been a little lady. Well, I mean, she was a little lady.
This is what it says on their website.
Little fun-sized Karen right there in your pocket.
Oh, no.
And she's in there screaming.
Oh, my goodness.
Apparently, they had let her on before, though.
What, really?
That's
what she says.
Somebody was slacking.
Yeah.
They weren't doing their job.
That's right. I can't help what happened before, lady, but you don't reach up to the, to the little animal's tongue, so you can't, or whatever.
But then, I mean, you might sling her off the ride.
That's right. Exactly right.
Well, it's go-karts you drive.
Well, then she might get slung out of the go-kart.
Well, I mean, do you really want to see that? The little old lady driving with, you know what I'm saying?
Yes. It's like she's on the highway.
She might wind up like that gray tabby.
Yeah.
Oh, Kit Kat, R.I.P.
More than likely, she's just not going to go anywhere because you can't reach the pedals.
R.I.P. Kit Kat.
R.I.P. Kit Kat. It's 56 after the hour. You can vote for Cameron. You can vote for me. You can vote for Jackson. You can vote for Ken. Vote early, vote often. 615-737-9986. When we return, what did I say we were talking about? I've already forgotten.
It was really important.
Oh, New York City.
Yes, Mamdani.
Where New York City goes now. That is up next. Your telephone calls as well. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. When you call Contours LLC, and I know you want to, ask them about their incredible Belly Buster special, $99 for a first-time visit at Contours LLC. Friends, I went today, and I absolutely love it. I love it. They guarantee that you'll lose over 2 inches or your first visit is of no cost to you. But here's the deal, folks. $99 is not a lot of money, and you'll pay the $99 once you lose more than 2 inches. I lost 2.5 inches my first visit. More in the subsequent visits. Come and try it. They are running that special for you to make sure that you don't have any objection to what is an incredible way to lose the weight. They guarantee it. Fat loss with no incisions, no downtime, no pain, no complications. Now, I understand, because I'm a skeptic, that this sounds very hard to believe, that you can go under medical-grade red light technology and it reduces your body fat naturally using the body's natural process. Folks, it works. All I can tell you is it works. Keith, Stephanie, and the rest of the team, they will explain it in detail for you. You can use your time wisely while you're in there. And friends, you'll lose the inches. The holidays are coming up. Parties are coming up. You need to do this. Call 615-236-9960. That's 615-236-9960, or go online to ContoursLLC.com. Call today, schedule that appointment, and lose those inches with Contours.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Metro police say no one was hurt when a man drove around South Nashville this morning firing a rifle. Before that, he was seen with the gun inside a store at Plaza Mariachi, going aisle to aisle as if he was looking for someone. He then left in a red Nissan Sentra, firing the gun along the way until witnesses tell Channel 4 they saw police spike his tires and he crashed into some trees in Hermitage.
To be right by, I mean, the dude barely passed the car. I mean, like 5-10 feet from Nashville's most wanted of the morning. That's I mean, legitimately, that's pretty scary.
Still waiting for more details on the suspect and a motive. At least 12 people now confirmed dead on the plane and on the ground in that crash there at the Louisville Airport, near the Louisville Airport in Kentucky. Latest from ABC's Alex Stone.
The NTSB says it has found the plane's cockpit voice recorder and the flight data recorder, the so-called black boxes. They suffered some heat damage, but the NTSB is confident it will get good data once the boxes are analyzed at a lab. NTSB board member Todd Inman says it's known the left engine of the plane detached from the wing while the plane was rolling down the runway.
After being cleared for takeoff, a large plume of fire in the area of the left wing occurred.
As the plane crashed and spread burning jet fuel, the fire stretched almost half a mile, according to the NTSB. Alex Stone, ABC News.
Government shutdown. Get ready for more flight delays, possible cancellations, staffing shortages leading the FAA to cut airline traffic by 10% in 40 major U.S. markets, including Nashville, starting Friday. Speaking at the American Business Forum in Miami today, President Trump told attendees who's at fault.
The reckless Democrat shutdown. Virtually every Democrat in Congress has voted to hold the American people hostage.
Trump says they're trying to use coercion to pivot back to failed Biden policies. And President Trump's global tariffs went before the Supreme Court today in one of the most closely watched cases of the term. ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy.
Well, the court's liberals made it clear they believe the president has overstepped. The conservative justices appeared to be split. Samuel Alito and Brett Kavanaugh signaled they support the president's use of tariffs to implement his foreign policy. Chief Justice John Roberts briefly tipped his hat to that, saying some of the tariffs have proven to be an effective tool. But he also said imposing tariffs is a core power of Congress. Trump appointee Neil Gorsuch warned of what he called a one-way ratchet of growing executive power. And Justice Amy Coney Barrett said if the administration loses this case, refunding the tariffs could prove to be a mess. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
That's the latest news, traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Woodbine got a crash 24 westbound there at I-440. On the west end, stalled vehicle, left shoulder block, 440 westbound at exit 1. On the north loop, a crash, left shoulder block, 65 northbound at the northern split. Creve Hall, left shoulder block by a crash, 65 northbound near Harding Place. Berry Hill, 65 northbound at I-440. And then in Donaldson, got Lebanon Pike and Donaldson Pike. Green Hills, accident right shoulder, 440 eastbound at the Woodlawn Drive overpass. Madison, 65 northbound before Old Hickory Boulevard. I'm Ken Weaver.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's the Matt Murphy Radio Show. Final hour starting right now. It is 8 minutes past the hour. Thank you for being with us. My name is Matt Murphy. Cameron Smith is in with us these Wednesdays. He's normally present and accounted for in the latter half of the show. Jackson Williams is behind the glass, making sure that everything that comes out of our speakers sounds as good as possible. There's Ken Weaver. He is in News Closet B. He gathers headlines, delivers them twice an hour, or when it breaks. We'd love to hear from you, 615-737-9986. Have you noticed, I don't know if anybody else is on the old super text line, the super text line is officially janky. So, hey, Jackson, the janky, that's a technical term. Yeah. Hey, Jackson, when I told you that the dude said that you could do a commercial for truffle butter, and you'd do a really good job doing the commercial for truffle butter.
And he said it 100 times?
And he said it 100 times. He didn't. Everything's repeating like 14 times.
Oh, so I'm getting a lot of votes.
Well, everyone's getting a lot of votes, Jackson, because, you know, if you vote for Ken got a vote. Someone said on these days that we do 4 nincompoops that they forget the first nincompoop by the time the last nincompoop hits. And so that guy just voted for Shorty Karen. So you got one of those votes.
Interesting. Mine's not janky.
Isn't it?
Mm-mm.
Oh, maybe it's just me. So you're not getting multiples?
No.
Okay.
Brian,
well, maybe it's just me.
Brian was referencing some muscadine wine.
Mm-hmm. 3 glasses of his brother's muscadine wine. See, I got that. I didn't get that one but once. But I got several others on a number of occasions. So, according to 9637, some fellow by the name of Daniel Breezy, who is a weather person here in town. I want to say that you mean Danielle Breezy, but you spelled it Daniel. That's okay.
It's fine.
I've verified what you're saying is correct, that Danielle Breezy apparently alerted everyone that there's a beaver sighting to be made tonight in the form of a beaver moon, specifically the super beaver moon. And 9637 says, I'm pretty sure Danielle Breezy,
mm-hmm.
said there was a super beaver moon tonight. Did I hear that right? Well, sir, you did. Tonight, the largest and brightest supermoon of 2025 is in Nashville, Tennessee, and it's known as the Super Beaver Moon.
Huh. And it comes from the colonial times when it marked the time for setting beaver traps before the onset of winter.
How about that?
I actually was noticing last night, I was outside, and it was super bright.
Yes.
I mean, I could see everything.
Yes. The dogs were insane.
Yeah.
Crazy. Were your kids crazy?
Well, and the dogs.
Yeah.
It was
crazy moon.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, so I've never heard of the beaver moon.
No, neither have
I. It is apparently a full moon that coincides with the closest orbital point to Earth, making it appear larger and brighter than a regular full moon. And it coincides with, as Cameron has just mentioned, the beaver preparing for winter. And so it is a supermoon, and when it occurs at this time of year, it is known as the beaver moon. I've heard of a blue moon.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard of strawberry moon. I've heard of a lot of different kinds of moons. Never heard of the beaver moon before today. I learned something.
I know when I go home and tell my boys what it is, they're going to giggle a lot.
do not know why this is funny.
Yes, you do.
Well, no, I do not.
I can't help you then, Matt.
Well, I mean, I understand.
Right.
The common parlance.
Yep. The slang, if you will.
I get the slang. And then there's the moon, which is slang for hiney. And then there's the other part. But those two things don't necessarily go together.
That's not the point.
But the point is you put them together and it's funny.
Right. It's a funny sandwich, basically. And the boys will just be like, ha ha, you said, fill in the blank.
Beaver moon.
Yeah.
Super beaver moon.
Super just makes it better.
I like this too. My AI overview that I just pulled up. I don't know if you did AI on it. The moon will appear bigger and brighter in the night sky. It will be the most prominent supermoon of the year. The name is traditionally associated with November because it was the season for setting beaver traps. You mentioned that. How to see it?
I can't, man. This is my whole life.
Go to your local liquor store and get yourself a nice bottle of wine.
No.
Maybe some candles.
I guess it's where to draw.
Maybe bring home some Italian food. That's always nice.
Yep.
Italian food.
Yep.
No. You don't do those things. You whisk your family away and find a spot away from city lights and check local listings for the best moonrise times. Your eyes will need about 15 to 20 minutes to adjust to the dark to get the best view of the beaver moon.
I can't. My whole life is just a series of inappropriate jokes now.
I've never seen. I've never. You don't see the beaver moon when it's bright.
Right.
You got to have it dark. Otherwise, you don't get to see it.
Right. Yep.
Has that been your experience, Cameron?
It is a source of infinite illumination. It is. Facts, Matt.
It's not going to happen.
But it might happen.
Hey, Mike.
How you doing?
I've been better, Mike. You got a minute?
Sure.
Okay. Well, kind of down in the back. Graduated from PT, but my shoulder really hurts because I worked out this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. But thank you for asking. How are you?
Hurts. Well, didn't go through the procedure like you did, but I did the stem cells, and you know what? I'm walking around. I'm freer of pain. I still have pain, but I'm freer of pain.
That's good.
About 50%.
I'm glad to hear it. Glad to hear it.
But anyway, so here we go. You just had a guest on that tariffs, Trump's going to lose in the Supreme Court.
He's still here.
Yeah, I'm right here.
Yep. So Trump's going to lose 9-0, I guess, with your guest. But then I've got what's his name? Bassett.
Wait, before we get to Bassett, I've got an idea, Mike. You ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Cameron. Meet Mike.
Cameron?
Hey, Mike. How are you doing?
Mike, this is Cameron.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
How you doing,
All
Cameron?
right, that's the guest. All right, anyway, Bassett. Yes, go.
And then Cameron says it's 9-0 for Trump. So now we have two diverging opinions.
What?
Your guest and then the Secretary of the Treasury and the Secretary of the IRS.
Wait, so
So
Bassett,
he was there at the hearings for the tariff.
and he said it was not. I'm sorry. He said it was 9-0 Trump.
No, he said he is so confident that it has to be because the other side, your side, made such stupid statements against the Constitution that there's no way they can win.
My side.
And this is why when, Matt, you and I think you're kind of a wishy-washy. I don't know what you are. And anyway, and by the way, we're getting to the Mamdani thing, which I'm kind of sure you're probably happy happened. I am, because it makes the Republicans now looking like they're going to fight against a communist. But maybe in the way you're looking at it is that this is what we want.
But what happened at the Supreme Court?
The Supreme Court was the oral arguments. That's it. Well, there's no decision made yet. No decision. Yet
it didn't go well for the administration, though, did it?
It did very well. It brought up so many points that it shows that the President of the United States, the executive commander-in-chief, has the authority to use all of these statutes and all of these ordinances in the Constitution to defend the United States.
What's your best guess on how the court's going to rule, Mike?
If it rules according to the law, it should be 9-0.
In favor of whom? In favor of whom?
In Trump. But if they rule on Trump, the arrangement system, it may be close. It could be 5-4, 4-5.
What?
But if they rule on the Constitution and they rule the rule of law, it should be 9-0.
Wait, so in favor of Trump?
In favor of Trump.
But you're saying that Trump derangement syndrome could lead some of these folks to rule against the Trump administration?
Yes.
So you believe that the liberals on the court are going to that they are leaning toward Trump?
No. I'm saying the liberals are going to rule against Trump because of Trump derangement syndrome, and that's why we saw the elections yesterday. This is why the Democrats are so happy.
So
why is it such a slam dunk? Why is it such a slam dunk constitutionally, in your opinion, Mike?
Because it's the rule of law. You can't just sit here and go and read a sentence and then say, I don't like that sentence. I'm gonna interpret it my way.
No. What in the rule of law makes it such a slam dunk that they're going to rule in favor of Donald Trump?
I didn't say that. I'm saying it could be a rule against Donald Trump.
No, you said if they rule in favor of the Constitution, if they rule based on the Constitution, it's going to be a 9-0 decision in favor of Trump. And I'm asking you, and then I said, well, what about that? And you said rule of law. And now I'm saying, what about the rule of law? Like, what law are you looking at that makes it such a slam dunk pro-Constitution?
We're beyond the law now. We're into politics. And this is why this is why the Supreme Court has been politicized. And you can argue, and I will agree with you. We all agree that, hey, put on the Supreme Court justices that we
Can I ask you a question real quick? Just like a real quick. It was asked, I think it was Justice Gorsuch maybe asked this. So imagine a President AOC declares a climate emergency and then puts 100% tariffs on any country that uses fossil fuel in their energy generation. Would that be okay?
Absolutely not. And this is why we're discussing today what Trump is doing. He's going back in many, many, many generations of our Constitution and rulings that the President of the United States can use his executive authority to protect the borders of our country, and that's what he's doing. And therefore, the Supreme Court has to rule in his favor. I don't think it's going to be. I think Trump's going to win, but I think it's going to be like it should be 9-0. What's probably going to be is 5-0.
I hesitate to do this, Mike, for my own personal sanity, but I'm going to try to. So you say it should be 9-0. What, in your understanding of this case, informs you that it should be 9-0? What specifically informs you?
Executive branch, executive. The president of the United States.
Is a tariff a tax?
The tariffs. Who's going to
yes or no? Is a tariff a tax?
The tariffs from the other countries against us, yes, it's a tax.
Okay, a tariff's a tax. What branch of government?
Not tax. Not tax. A tax. A tax.
A tariff is a tax. A tariff is a tax.
Tariffs are a tax against the United States.
Tax. TAX.
If the attacks are against the United States, then the United States also ought to have a tax.
Mike, will you tell me the last time that you experienced a beaver moon?
He's under the influence of a beaver moon, super beaver moon right now. I'm concerned.
So is it, one more time, tax, T-A-X, is a tariff a tax?
Of course it is.
Okay, stop. What branch of government, per the Constitution, federally, has the right to tax?
Congress.
Thank you. Okay, that's it. That's all I needed. Thank you. But Trump's going to win.
Right.
That came from the guy that said Trump was going to win.
Yep.
I love Trump. And I love the way that he's used. Cameron, not so much, but I love the way that he's used tariffs as a bargaining tool for the end purpose. And Cameron and I have argued for a long time about, how far this can go and how far it can't go and whether or not it's effective and how much it harms the economy versus how much it doesn't. But the Constitution still matters. And
I agree with you on the bargaining tool.
Yeah,
You're right.
You do. But then it's about what's the end game? Is the end game to get to zero? And you've kind of gone, and I've tried to give Trump the benefit of the doubt. And I'll be honest, I'm frankly not so sure anymore that my argument from 6 months ago was correct. My argument was always the end game is to get to zero sum.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not so sure anymore. But none of it matters if it's unconstitutional.
Right.
And this is the way the Constitution works, folks. Like it, for better or worse, the same court that gave us a reversal of Roe v. seems to be leaning against Trump in this case. The same courts that have ruled pretty consistently in favor of Trump in a lot of pretty important cases might go against him on this one. We don't get to just unilaterally decide we hate this court now because the court is reading the Constitution differently than the Trump administration.
Yeah, and Brian makes a good point in between glasses of wine. So why is it okay for Canada to impose a 275% tariff on milk from the U.S.? It's not. And this is the point on which we agree, is that saying, okay, look, if you're going to do this tariff, then we're going to respond with the same. The goal should be reducing the trade barrier.
The Trump administration's point, and they can't act extracurricular to the Constitution of the United States in order to do it. And I understand that that's frustrating.
Yeah.
But if you're in the midst of this and Canada throws that 275 at you, you want a president that has the flexibility to throw something back at them during these types of trade negotiations. But there's only so much he can do outside of Congress that is constitutional.
And honestly, I don't see Democrats opposing if he said, you know what, Congress, these countries are abusing us because they're preventing access for our businesses into their markets. Help me out here.
I don't know. I don't think the Democrats would do anything that they thought would help Trump out.
Well, nobody's doing anything right now. So,
well, true that. 25 after the hour on Super Talk. I would strongly recommend that Jackson Williams listen to this next commercial advertisement because let me tell you something. If he does that to me again, he's going to need Grace Point Health Care. Modern medicine delivered the old-fashioned way. Affordable, convenient opportunity for you to know what you're paying after Matt Murphy lashes you about the head and shoulders. Friends, in all seriousness, Grace Point Health Care is your go-to place for primary care. When it comes to you, your family, any age, newborns to seniors, they can see you. You don't wait at Grace Point. This is nice. I love this, right? So you call your typical primary care provider. I'm not naming any names, but you guys know this is true. You call them and you say, hey, I'm sick. When can I get in? Oh, 2.5 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now. What are you doing? What are we doing? I'm sick right now. I'm sick today. Wintertime, late fall, wintertime brings cold and flu season, along with weeks in delay if you're trying to schedule an appointment. Not so at Grace Point. Plus, as a direct pay provider, you know exactly what you're paying right up front. And if you enroll in the basic Smart Care plan, $99 a month for adults, $79 a month for kids, and you can pay that through your HSA, you don't have to pay anything on your office visits year-round. And they do free basic labs and diagnostics. How about that? Call 599-6868, 599-6868. Grace Point Healthcare, modern medicine delivered the old-fashioned way. Friends, Matt Murphy for the Tennessee Men's Clinic, now with not one, not two, but 3 separate Middle Tennessee locations to serve you. The original in Midtown. It's been open since 2014. Evan Bass and his team of experts, expert urologists, have taken care of all of your needs, men's health and men's sexual health specifically. Then they opened their shop in Cool Springs for those of you south of the city, and now they have a 3rd location in Clarksville. Gentlemen, these issues from in your romantic relationships or your energy levels, they're not going to go away on their own. And do not trust online sites, do not trust online pills to solve these things. Go to a urologist. Have a meeting with the Tennessee Men's Clinic for $99. They will get you a first examination. They will get a little blood work. They'll find results that day, and if medically approved, they'll give you your first treatment in the office right there during your first appointment. How about that? We can find solutions at the Tennessee Men's Clinic. Gentlemen, do not wait another moment. Most men who wait, they regret that they did. Make the call that so many others have made. 615-208-9090, 208-9090. It's the Tennessee Men's Clinic, online at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Wellness Institute of Nashville can solve pain. I don't know if they can solve busted eardrums, Jackson, like mine that you just did for me by yelling at me like that, which I don't appreciate. But they most certainly can solve any manner of your back pain, neck pain, knee pain, hip pain. Let me see. Back pain, neck pain, knee pain, hip pain, elbow pain, shoulder pain. No ear pain in there. But you know what? Give it a go. Dr. Mitch is he solves a lot of problems for a lot of people around the Middle Tennessee area. Maybe he can solve your ear pain too. One way or the other, I made the switch to Dr. Mitch and his team at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. I did that for a reason, because they're simply the best at alleviating pain. They use the most modern techniques, non-surgical spinal decompression. It works because the spinal decompression heals the disc, opens it up so blood, nutrition, hydration can get in there and heal that area, heal the spinal disc and the nerve. Knee compression, very similar to spinal decompression. Friends, you need to do this for yourself or a family member. If you have someone in debilitating pain, they are not allowed to live their lives because of the pain, or they're popping pills, or they have to depend on spinal injections, considering surgery. Friends, let's get with the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Painisbad.com. That's painisbad.com. 615-246-5009. 246-5009 for our friends at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Man, I don't know. My Super Talk text is wild. Wild. Y'all just need to get off this Beaver Moon subject. Calm it down. Lay off the muscadine wine, Brian. I was telling, I've told this story on the air before. I was telling this story to Cameron. You've probably heard it. I probably told you all my pa stories. I was in college, and my grandpa, enjoyed, hearing stories about, a young buck howling at the moon in college. And his way of participating in that, he made us I tell him stories about my buddy Wayne, blah, 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 college party.
Sure.
So he took a big 5-gallon glass bottle and made muscadine wine. We had a big muscadine tree in the backyard.
Which I love. It's muscadine vines, right?
Yeah, it's a vine.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but you can make wine out of it. And he made us muscadine wine out of the muscadines. He put them in there and squished them and fermented them, put sugar in there, and let it ferment. And apparently knew how to do it, but he was very dissatisfied with the potency. And so he gives it to me, had corked it with a big cork. Oh, yeah, put that in your front seat. We strapped it into the front seat, seatbelt and all. Big. And I used that big 5-gallon glass bottle for a change bottle until someone stole it in Athens, Georgia, years later. Anyway, long story short, he's like, you enjoy that. And he just had this funny look on his face. And I took it back, and I left it for we took all the shelves out of the refrigerator and put it in the refrigerator, as you do, because there's no food in there.
Right.
And left it for a bit. And a weekend, we tried it. And, man. So the next time I come home, he's like, how'd you like the muscadine wine? I was like, Pa, it laid me down.
Pretty strong.
It's pretty strong. He's like, well, it should have been because I put 3 quarts of moonshine in it. I was like, what? He said he fermented it. He said, I tried it, and I didn't feel like it was strong enough for you college boys, so I figured I'd add a little something to it.
He basically made hunch punch and gave you that.
That's exactly what
it's good. Like, I still, the things that young humans drink and think it's a good idea is just, it's truly shocking. The things that have been in trash cans.
Oh, geez.
What are we doing? What's happening?
Oh, yeah. And I'm not entirely certain that, or got to get the keg back. We drank, true story. We had like a pony keg and there was a party and you got to return the keg to get your deposit.
You do.
And so we drained the keg and we had so much beer. We put it in pitchers and stuff, and we're idiots. We're like, we'll just drink this later. We put it all in the fridge. Yeah. It goes really flat and it tastes
awful.
But you know what we did? We drank it.
Yeah. Well, it's a miracle of science that college-age young men don't die in droves because they never have food in their refrigerator, as you correctly identify. There's usually a lot of alcohol and other beverages that they've been told, hey, you should stay away from that. And then they go to college and they're like, maybe not. I'll do the opposite of that and not eat food. And it's a shock, but I've seen them. They've made it through. They survived somehow.
Yeah, believe it or not. I spent an entire summer, I was given a case of green beans and a case of saltine crackers. And I don't remember eating anything else that summer besides green beans, saltine crackers, and ramen noodles. And I always cook the ramen noodles in the coffee pot. Did you cook ramen noodles in the coffee pot?
Yeah, that's an easy one.
Jackson, you ever cook ramen noodles in the coffee pot?
No, but I've eaten them dry.
Yeah, I've seen that. And I can't. I'm like, what are you doing?
If you just hold them in your mouth long enough, it'll soften up.
No, it's just like a crunchy snack. It's
Yeah,
kinda
it's like
chips.
a cracker.
What do you do with the little flavor packet, Jackson?
Sprinkle that on there for some seasoning.
Yeah, that's good.
It's like a flavored chip.
That's next level. I thought the coffee pot was good. That's next level.
That's not even like struggle. That's just like low effort.
Yeah.
Like hungover, tired, class, ramen.
Shockingly, my boys will do that with ramen completely sober. They're like, oh, this is great. It's just faster.
It's not bad.
Your eldest is now 16. Have you had the alcohol conversation with him?
Yeah.
I mean,
All of
I don't.
them.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
all of it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I don't. I just don't know at what because I don't have any. And we never did it. I mean, my grandpa was like, if you do any, my grandfather's basic discussion on childhood was this: if you do anything that I disapprove of, I'm going to kill you. Okay, go. All right, and you're like, well, what? Get out of here. See you later.
Yeah. I'm just, my point to all of them has been, it's not necessarily the alcohol that creates the problem. It's what you do when you've consumed the alcohol that becomes the problem.
Amen.
And your brain is still developing to about 25. So you got to decide whether you want to damage your brain for the rest of your life, cause reasons.
I'll give you an example of this. Alcohol may or may not have been involved, but it's a similar concept. Deciding that you think it's funny to jump on the train when it's going really slow behind your house is not the problem. It's when the train speeds up and you can no longer jump off it. and you're now 4 miles down the road before it slows down again, and now you have to get home, and it's 2 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
I need more of that story.
That's a true story.
Yeah, I the one I tell my boys is, this is years ago, I had not eaten anything all day, and it was about 90 degrees outside, and I had some bourbon drinks, but I did not realize this wasn't regular bourbon. It was supercharged, very high proof, with no food and hot sun, and it had a tremendous effect on me that I haven't drunk, like, alcohol and I are done, like, because I'm getting old and I don't like it. But at this point, I decided, because I was way more inebriated than I had anticipated, that I was going to call a U.S. Senator. And so
who was it?
So,
you're not
but you know,
Are they still in office?
no. And
is it Shelby?
No. But it was a good.
Oh, I know who it was.
And
I won't tell.
my boys are like, what? And I'm like, yeah. So that was a bad decision. Like, I don't think he answered, but like,
Cameron's such a nerd. Most guys, they drink too much bourbon. They call ex-girlfriends.
Yeah.
They booty call somebody.
Yeah.
Cameron Smith is calling a United States senator.
I had a policy idea, Matt, and I needed right then, in my flip-flops with a towel, walking home, to call a senator and tell them what I thought about policy.
I've never had a policy idea under the influence of alcohol, but I've had a lot of them under the influence of marijuana.
Oh, that's good.
Jimmy, speaking of policy ideas, is next. Hello, Jimmy.
What's going on there, Matt?
What's up, Jimmy?
Not much. I'm sitting here under the beaver moon, and I have yet to see a beaver. I've seen a deer, a red fox, and a gray fox.
Awesome.
Watch out for them possums.
Yeah, I hadn't seen any of them yet, but
what about cats?
No,
You seen any cats? Domesticated cats?
Yeah, I like the teeth on them things. So. But no, I was calling at you. I watched Bill O'Reilly. You was talking about those trade tariffs, and he had his staff look it up, and I didn't know about it. But it's the Trade Act of 1974. Have you heard of that?
The Trade Act of 1974. Teach me. What is that about?
Well, Congress passed a law. I didn't know anything about it because I was 4 years old. But Congress passed a law, and President Ford evidently signed it. And there's 3 sections. 301 allows tariffs in response to unfair trade practices. 201 permits tariffs if U.S. industry is seriously injured by surging imports. And 122 authorizes temporary tariffs to address significant imbalance of trade deficits. It gives the power to the president to do all that. And a raccoon just come out under the beaver moon. So it's.
I mean, you got everything but the beavers.
I know it. It just, and I'm a mile from the beach, so it's kind of an odd spot here.
Where are you, Jimmy?
I'm in the Outer Banks, North Carolina.
Oh, heck yeah. Love Outer Banks.
Sounds fun.
That sounds awesome.
I'm about a half mile from the Sounds and about a mile from the ocean as a crow.
You know, I'll need to look the transcript up. I admit that I did not hear a significant enough portion of the oral arguments that were being made today before the United States Supreme Court to tell you whether or not the Trade Act of 1974 came up. I'm looking at it here. I looked it up while you were talking, and it is as you described. So I'll look into that. That might change my calculus on it. I would think that if it does, as you have described, that it would be a key component in the argument being made by the federal government that they have the authority to do these types of things.
And I think O'Reilly might have been right that they probably won't give him full free reign. They might limit some of what he does, but he'll be able to do it. I don't think that he's just going to have unfettered reign on doing that.
Thank you for the info, Jimmy, and be careful be careful of the wildlife out there.
Hey, it's in the backyard. I can't argue with it.
Hey, listen, if you see one raccoon, there's like 28 others. You know that, right?
Oh, yeah. I've seen 3 run across the backyard on the camera in the backyard. So they're all over the place. The wife loves these things until they start digging in her flowers anyway.
Yeah, I get it. Well, Mr. Jimmy, thank you.
Hey, y'all have a good one.
You do as well. 1974.
Yeah, I mean, this
Trade
is
Act.
one of the ones that I'm familiar with. And ultimately, the president does have some authority to negotiate trade agreements, but Congress is still involved, right? Congress can, up or down on those trade agreements. And that, to me, is, the U.S. can deal with this. Yes, the U.S. can deal with trade, but it is not a unilateral do whatever you want whenever you want.
Here's the key component that I would suggest we need to focus in on, and I need to do some more background research on it. And thank you for bringing it up, Jimmy. The Trade Act of 1974 promotes open and fair trade, gives the president authority to negotiate trade agreements, yada yada yada. Key provision, Section 301, U.S. to retaliate with sanctions such as tariffs against countries that violate trade agreements or engage in unfair practices. The act also created the generalized system of preferences and also fast-track authority for Congress to approve or reject presidential trade negotiations. So there's still a congressional component there that you send whatever you've done to Congress, and Congress gives you the old thumbs up.
Yeah, and then you can also, some of the Section 301 tools that people have been talking about are there for a specific purpose that the president has to say, hey, here's what's happening so I can do this. But when that condition subsides, so does the authority to unilaterally
And he's
do it.
using the 77 code to declare that he has an emergency on his hands. Right?
He's used IEPA is the law that's really in question here of, this is an emergency.
Right.
And because it's an emergency, I can do all this stuff. And it is not.
And that even supersedes this 74 deal?
It is alongside it, but it's just a different citation of authority. And so if he's using the Trade Act of 1974, that's fine, but that's going to apply to certain things. And this is.
And you still need Congress to speak.
He's trying to do it broadly.
Yeah. 52 after the hour. If we have time, we'll get to your calls. 615-737-9986. It's The Murphy Show. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for Men of Valor. What a wonderful organization that I want to tell you about. If you've not heard of Men of Valor, please do me one favor. If you do anything for me tonight, look up movministry.com and see the wonderful work done by Men of Valor. They equip men with the tools and resources that they need to succeed upon leaving the prison system. And they go right to where they are. They go into the prison system. They have authority to do so. Why? Because the state and other prison organizations recognize how important their ministry truly is. They are funded by individuals, families, and churches just like you or yours. And they, in 2024 alone, ministered to well over 3,000 men. Let's give you a couple of stats. 90% plus of men who are in prison are getting out at some point or another. What type of men do you want to get out? Do you want men that are takers or men that are givers or men of valor? Men of Valor helps create those good men and lower recidivism rates in the process, which ultimately saves us money. Give as you can, either through your time and volunteerism or through your generous donations. Men of Valor needs it to continue operating in the state of Tennessee, and they do such great work. movministry.com. That's movministry.com. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's a final opportunity for comment. Real quick, 30 seconds, because, well, I'll tell you what. I'm getting to Lee first, and then we'll get to your comment. Lee.
Hey.
Hey, Lee.
How are you?
Lee, I'm great. Thank you for holding, and I appreciate you calling in. What's on your mind?
Now, I was just thinking 1974, Cameron was talking about it, and I was 12 years old. My parents were divorced, and I moved from about 50 miles away to Bowling Green, Kentucky. And right there at Memphis Junction Railroad, we used to hop the train in town and ride it back home. It's when they was building interstate up through there. So it was a good soft landing, jump off of it. We had a friend that didn't want to jump off because it was going a little faster than he normally do.
Yeah. Where'd he get to?
He ended up in Nashville.
Yeah, he did.
They tried to catch him in Franklin, and the train was going on through.
Lee?
You got to remember, this is 1974.
Lee, Lee, call me back tomorrow and tell me the rest of the story. Rest of Lee's story tomorrow on the Matt Murphy Show. Thank you, Cameron. See you. Mark Levin is up next. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hug your loved ones. So long, everybody.